All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time once again. It's the lower bracket finals. I'm joined, first of all, by the one and the only, as you can see on my side here, Regdor. How you feeling tonight, man?
I'm doing great. I love that you didn't freak out over the lack of a beard again. Our producer actually lost their minds and the technical director, so they're recovering. But, every day's a banger when you get to cast League of Legends, especially the lower bracket run, the last hope. Only one team can walk out, real Highlander feel, so I'm all about it.
Yeah, definitely. So, like you mentioned, right? It's all or nothing for the two of the teams that are going to be here tonight, especially with one team who has just been battling their way to this position. Let's take a quick look real quick at the brackets. So we can see right here, right in this lower finals, all the way to the right side. You can see tonight Winthrop Garnet going up against Team Fish Taco, and Team Fish Taco in general has had one hell of a run, Rector. They have just been crushing teams to get to this point, right? They straight up crushed the Wild West Bandits, they crushed SLU, and they have just been fighting tooth and nail to get to this spot.
And this is something I love about Team Fish Taco. Ever since their resurgence, we've seen little changes to the rosters over and over from Summer OQs and UPL as well. And they seem to have found their formula, even down in the lower bracket. They just look consistently so strong and really an insurmountable team that they're going up against. It's like, an unmovable object versus an unstoppable force.
True. I mean, speaking of strong, right, Winthrop Garnet, they're looking pretty strong themselves. We got to see them last week as well, right, in that upper bracket finals where they were eliminated. Well, not eliminated, I should say, but kicked out by UST 2-1. But overall, it was a bit of a crazy showing coming out overall. Just all of the members of Winthrop Garnet were such amazing performances. I'm thinking of Big Daddy Denethor, right, in that top lane on the Gnar, just straight up chilling, right? Mobility in the bot lane, Frost Forest in the jungle. It was a sight to behold. Of course, now they have that chance to go back to the grand finals and put some hurt back on UST, but they have to win tonight.
Yeah, and Winthrop Garnet, like you said, is no slouch. You have a core audience here with Denethor, Phosphorus, and Mobility that were all Tempest Gaming alumni from this past summer who made it outside of the OQs and into the group stage. And Winthrop, as like an institution this year, top 8 in CLO the past year, top 4 at Gateway, top 8 at Hue. Like, they have been slowly but surely climbing their way up the ladder in these tournaments, and for a lot of them, this is their first year together. So this is a very young crew that's already showing in pretty much their first outing how much of a force they are to be reckoned with.
Right, I think that's a huge point that you bring up, that, this team has only been together for so long. These bros looking like they've been playing together for years, right? I'm gonna keep it real. It's like, you see them on the Rift, they have got these plans going. They're like, they got the 6-head, 300 IQ plans going here, and they look maybe not flawless, but they look incredibly good on the Rift. They bring some incredible plays and overall just have some incredible synergy. I'm especially looking at that bot lane.
Oh yeah, Mobility has like their own cult-like following. When they popped up, I got to do a LAN where I was casting Mobility, and man, everything just starts popping off when the man's on the Rift. He's incredibly strong on these scaling picks. We saw a menace of Azeri last year, but also is not afraid to go into these early game, very aggressive focused lanes with things like the Lucian, Callista that are super, in the meta right now. But for me, you said Big Daddy Denethor. This is where my eyes are at. It's kind of like the young gun versus the old man here in Alorm and Denethor. They're both players that don't mind being on the weak side and just kind of taking things in the isolated 1v1. And when you get two players like that, it creates such an interesting battle of, hey, the junglers, you can go where you please. You can kind of do whatever you want. I've got my own game plan up here and maybe try to create my own advantages. So I'm really excited to see what they kind of opt into.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, they just, like I said, they just straight big chilling up there. They do whatever the hell it is that they want. But then once those team fights comes around, that's when we really, I feel, get to see them shine, right? I'm thinking of Denethor last week as well. It wasn't too much action in that top lane itself, but especially on that Gnar, once those team fights started coming around, he was a huge pivotal point of what actually kept his team in the fight against the just absolute disaster that was the fact that all of UST were looking incredibly menacing. But Denethor was like, listen, man, I got this, baby. Just stay behind me.
No, absolutely. And on the opposite side, for TFT, Alorm has, a lot of pocket picks. The one that always comes to mind for me is the Urgot. We've seen him 1v9 and pull some games back from the depths of tilting on the Crabman. in and of itself, and that's an amazing feat to have. So it feels like a lot of attention on the top side for us, even though the rest of the people on the Rift may just be looking towards the Dragons. It's going to be the battle of the Titans in the top lane that I just.
Yeah, definitely so. Well, that's enough talking from us. Let's just get this damn thing started, ladies and gentlemen, because the draft is about to get underway. So let's just get right into it. Already, Rector, I'm seeing TFT on this blue side. Every single cast, if we talk about that blue side superiority coming through, you think Winthrop's got the answers for this?
You know what? I don't believe in blue side supremacy. I believe it's all about the red side innovations, if you will. We love a good B1, but I love me some great R1, R2s, a lot of power picks on the board to be had. And that's the interesting thing at this point, right? Is that you don't have all those permabans. Something like the Aatrox, even though he got bumped down a bit, still a menace. Isn't something I feel like is going to be like that pick or ban sort of priority because how these top laners want to play. Maybe they'll surprise me, but nothing so far that indicates that we're going to really try to play towards a resource-heavy top side. As you can see, the Camille already out the door for Denethor.
Yeah, both sides taking their time really when it comes to these bans. A little surprised with the Camille ban as well as Denethor's Camille didn't look stellar the last time we got to saw it last week. It was like it's all right. I'm thinking more when I'm thinking of like the Gnar. That was a really big pick that came out from that I would have liked to see banned. But regardless, maybe that's still coming. And the Camille is just a champion that you can just, if you get things started with it, it's all over. But Winthrop Garnett, on the other hand, looking to start banning out some of Old Pal's picks here with that Renata being taken off the board.
Yeah, and you've got the Ezreal right after that. So a lot of bot side focus, the Ezreal being one of those safer picks that you can kind of leave on an island and say, hey, buddy, just throw those Mystic shots out. We'll see you in about 2.5 items. Once you got that tier fully stacked and saying, hey, you're not going to have this sort of out indicates to me that TFT really wants to play the bot side 2v2 and say, we want to do something interactive as now the Sejuani's gone. That is a shared pick between Alorum and Denethor and still a really great flex potential for either side of the draft. So another great, just generalistic pick thrown out the door saying, TFT, you're not going to get to go through with your old ways.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, the fact that both of these top laners, as we kind of mentioned, right, they are those weak side kings, just gives so much more agency for Frostforce and Tricks to actually go into those bot lanes and affect them. And both teams, really, both of their bot laners, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. I'm thinking of last week, especially mobility on the... My boy picked the Draven, dude. That's a statement if I have ever seen one. And he didn't look too damn bad on it.
No, mobility doesn't look bad on a lot of champions. Let's just be honest here. He is indeed, highly ranked. I remember at one point, top 100 on the ladder last year. And there's a reason why, is because of how well he can play around the 2v2 and really scale into the game and be the carry that the team needs. Be that guy. And you could see 3 ADC bans across the way. The Kalista, Renata out the door. Caitlyn, a really strong pick to go R1, R2 and get like the Caitlyn Karma, the Caitlyn Lux that we've been seeing a little bit of everywhere. So now with all those pulled out, it's just going to be the Lucian, baby. You're not going to get the Lucian Nami R1, R2.
Yeah, and that kind of, I feel, forces Winthrop into this position, right? Do you want to steal away the Nami in this case? Obviously, with, you have that R1, R2 available, or do you give it over and have something else as a response? You maybe just pick your own bot lane coming through here as a... Yeah, looking like they might just steal away. It's over. Not going to say anything just yet, but wouldn't surprise me too much if they look to steal this away. You don't really ever want to give it over. Yes! 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 The certified Yumi moment might be upon us, Rekka. This is what I want to see.
This is quite the statement to be made here to say we're going to pick the Yumi. It's something I always call especially greedy, to take this scaling support into what is going to be a hard focus kill lane. You can't imagine that TFT is not going to opt into the Nami here on B2. It is important. Cassante will be disabled for the rest of UPL. So, just like to mess with us a little bit, show you the champion does exist. But it is that Gnar that Denethor was able to calculatedly control his rage and find these teamfight angles. That's going to just be the locked-in blind here.
Yep, definitely so. It was a great showing last week. It should be a great showing today as well. But we're not quite done yet with the picks. And now it's up to TFT, and they're going to go ahead and just lock in that Nami. They're saying, you're giving it to us? Okay, I mean, we'll be taking it. Which is, of course, maybe Winthrop has. They got some tricks up their sleeves. They got an ADC that they're looking to pick to counter that. But I'm not going to say it. Rector, I'm looking at you. I'm not even looking down there at the screen. I'm not going to say anything.
It's not real.
That's exactly why. It's not real. I know production probably hovered that because he hates my guts, but regardless, Silas is going to be locked in. Love to see it already just from these two first picks that came out from Winthrop. A lot of ultis I could see Toasty Alex looking to take that would honestly work incredibly well for him.
Yeah, and Silas just on its own, getting to pick it here on B3, just leaves them in a position where Winthrop was forced to either pick their AD here or match mid. But since they picked their AD, now any kind of cover bands can go over to TFT's side for Toasty Alex, like the Akali kind of being banned out here, maybe the Azir as well, to say, Ivano, you're not going to have a favored matchup or even an even matchup is important. Ivano, 11 unique champions played across UPL. Probably one of the highest numbers. So he's got a lot of tricks in the bag to try to play into this Silas early on.
Yeah, I feel like that's why we also see that it took them so long to actually look for any of these bans in that mid lane, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you ban 1, 2, 3 members. Ivano's like, dude, I got 6 more in the bag. Nice try. Let me pick this right off the bat. So for now, it's only gonna be the Akali taken off the board. On the flip side, though, Winthrop Garnet has taken the J4 as well as the Ornn off the table, really focusing on that jungle on top. And with the Victor out as well, no surprise, they're a very staple pick in the mid lane. We're done with the bans. Let's get into these last couple of picks, and we get to see the entirety of the composition and find out what exactly the plan is going to be. Now, Winthrop, unlocking the Ahri here. Okay, I like it.
Ahri, just a traditional, I call it a generalistic mid pick because it can do so many different things. Maybe if you've been watching some of the TL tryouts, may have seen a pretty great
just
Ahri today. Just maybe a little pentakill angle there. And showing why this pick is so great, it gives a setup CC into ganks at level 6 that has so many different ways depending on your itemization. If you want to play like a skirmishing assassin, if you want to try to look for these flanks and really pick out good single target burst damage, but it's going to be, at the moment, what is this R5 as we see the Malphite locked in? Because right now, Yuumi doesn't have any great hosts. There's not this hyperscaling pick, this bruiser that they really unlock the game with here for Bacchus to line up with Frost Forest with. So as of right now, it's just the Sivir. It's just this late game scaling bot lane that really is tying together Winthrop.
Yeah, definitely so here. Last picks are going to be coming through here. We see the Hecarim for Team Fish Taco, and now the last pick for Winthrop Garnet for game number 1. It's going to be the Udyr out of all the people. You asked for it, man. Is the Udyr, will it suffice, Rector? Will that suffice?
Yeah, that's a pretty good call here. Now, Udyr is been the weirdest champion right now when you see, like, on u.gg or whatever site you want to look at. Hey, Mr. Riot, what do I build on this champion? And they're like, you know what? Go with any 6 items, and you're going to do something with it. He has access to things like the Prowler's Claw, but more traditionally going into the tank itemization, going into AP a little bit with things like the Demonic Embrace, has a lot of malleability, but most importantly, it is this giant frontline tank that you can throw a Yuumi on and feel like you're invincible and help mitigate what is a very large dive comp here with Trickster on the Hecarim, with the Unstoppable Force from the Malphite, and just with the Absend Abduct from Silas. You have all these things trying to move forward and get onto your carry, and Udyr, he's a wall. He just says no.
Yeah, he is a wall indeed, and he's got so many members that can look to just stand behind him as well. And I'm looking at the amount of poke that can come out from Ivano on the Ahri itself, right? Those orbs coming through, especially with that true damage returning, gonna hurt a lot. You've got the Boomerang Blades that are gonna be coming through from mobility as well, gonna hurt quite a bit. While on the flip side of Team Fish Taco, other than the bubbles coming through from Old Pal and a bit of poke coming through from Red, I'm worried that they might struggle a little bit with a bit of a lack of range.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is looking at the drafts is that the bottom side is the question. Sivir, not been that big of a premier pick. Does have a pretty nice win rate when you look at the pro scene of the Yuumi Sivir. But when we come down to this level and where we're at of these players and they're still in their development, playing that 2v2 is incredibly hard. It's really on Old Pal and EU Red to try to push their advantage and attack the resources of of the bot lane as we are looking here. A nice little meme. It's the same guy. It's the same guy, I swear.
Is it though? Is it really? Is it really the same guy? One paid for Twitter Blue. That's all I'm gonna say.
That I don't know what to do with that. Just like the save is, the bot lanes may not know what to do with this 2v2. If they find themselves in a position where they're on the back foot, where you're able to attack Pockets' resources and put mobility at a disadvantage early on, then that scaling goes away because now you're accelerating the side of TFT's bot lane.
And with that beautiful transition, Regdor, we are on the rift, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 is underway. The stakes are higher than ever. The final spot for the grand finals is up for grabs. Both of these teams want that spot badly. Winthrop Garnet wants another shot at UST for a little bit of redemption, and Team Fish Taco, they've just invested so much time into this damn league. There's no universe where they can't get the win, but only one team is getting out of this one alive, Regdor.
Hey, they only dropped one match in the lower bracket. TFT is dominant at the moment, but Winthrop Garnet has not messed around at all here thus far, just now losing 2-1 in the upper bracket finals and back down here. And as we can see, early vision, incredibly important. Winthrop Garnet dropping not only that ward in the bot side mid bush, as well as another one in the river to try to watch out as Toasty Alex is going to start taking some poke early on.
Yeah, already that range event is coming through here for Ivano. Bit of damage coming through with the summon area as well. That's already gonna keep Toasty Alex on his toes a little bit there in this bot lane. Them kind of trading coming through, but I'm really looking at Frost Force, right? Obviously you weren't here last week, but I'm sure you heard the talk of Frost Force when he was on his Kindred. It was just absolute destruction in this bot lane. Frost Force, whenever he got a chance, he went into that bot lane. Now I'm trying to remember what our saying was. It was gatekeep girl boss and kill bot. That was the saying coming through, because every single time Frost Force saw an opportunity, he went into bot lane and he just absolutely decimated the members of USC. There it is. Gaslight, gatekeep, and kill bot. So I want to see if Frost Force is going to look to do the same kind of thing. And with already him starting in that top lane, looking to path down, I have a feeling we're going to see something like that.
Absolutely should be the case. I like to say eat, sleep, dive, bot, repeat. But nonetheless, it will be Frost Force getting spotted out on that ward right there on his Raptors. So the transition is being tracked. They have an idea of where he's at. But equally on the opposite side, you can see both mid laners trading wards here on the enemy Raptors. So the early tracking of these jungles is incredibly important, and they're paying heed to it with what is really a bot side matchup that is critically volatile, but goes one way or another depending on these combat summoner spells. You're blowing the flash out of EU Red early on. You're not able to play as aggressive here in the matchup. So it makes sense. Both junglers on the bot side of the map to try to cover the plays.
Yeah, definitely so. And the mobility pocket's just been doing a great job of making sure that wave is in a pristine position for Frost Force to call on over. But Fish Tacos, there's no slouches, and they realized something was likely going to be up, so they went ahead, checked in the river, didn't spot anything. But now that Trickster is here as well, that's going to definitely add an extra layer of security, as both of these junglers are going to already start fighting for this crab here. But Trickster, like he's going to have the upper hand, the bot roam coming through. But both bot lanes actually, did we get to see our first little scuffle here? Never mind, not so likely. Hate to see it.
No, you want to be, you're running the pacifist any percent run here for Winthrop Garnet. They, as you can see, look, half of the health bar gone from mobility from that one trade. Toasty Alex is feeling the same thing.
Never mind, though. We're failing this speed run. Just maybe Ivano looking for something. Doesn't quite have the extra damage, though. But just these trades coming through. Toasty Alex incredibly low here. Question is, will he stay or does he go? Right, has that TP available. But in the bot lane here, looking to find mobility. Ignite comes through. And the pacifist speed run has been completed at 4 minutes exactly, because first blood goes into the hands of Trickster.
And this is where it starts going and getting out of hand. Use the flash, the exhaust, and the heal. 3 out of the 4
they want more pockets. You're not that guy, man. You are not that guy. Down he goes into the hands of EU Red. They're going to look for a little bit of retribution in this mid lane, though. But Toasty Alex says, no, sir. No how. It's turret diff. It does too much damage. And Ivano, the tricky spot, finds the charm, though. Going to find that damage, so he'll make sure that Toasty Alex can't find him.
Yeah, Ivano is just saying, please don't try to murder me. I'm just going to charm you and create distance here as mobility makes their way back down. And this is now where they can start to just kind of turbo this bottom side. Like we said, all 4 summoner spells used now. A double kill fed over to the enemy jungler, and 1 for EU Red, who's coming back with a serrated dirk and 2 longswords. This is the pristine position with the first strike, where you're going to be doing a ton of damage with that gouge passive on the dirt, as well as the Tie-Caller's Blessing. So where now if you step up for that trade, you lost half your health, now you're going to lose 3/4, and you're just that much closer to being 100-0.
Yeah, and having that lead is always so incredibly essential when you're going up against a Yuumi, right? Because that's always the biggest fear. You go in for that full trade, Paucus would just click E, and then it's like, oh, you did absolutely nothing to me. Like, thanks for that. You know, you just wasted all your abilities, and it did literally nothing. But with that serrated Dirk as well, with that first strike, gonna make it so much more oppressive in this ball lane. Gonna make it so much harder for Paucus to keep mobility healthy.
And that's the biggest thing is, like we said, this is a greedy bot side pick. This is double scaling into an all-in style lane that kind of similar to Caitlyn wants to shove, wants to get kills, take tower plating, and be unlocked on the map. Essentially trying to get EU Red through that power drop, through what is the lack of scaling that we generally think of with the Lucian, and getting him to the point where it doesn't matter that he doesn't scale because he's a whole item and a half ahead of you. And the only way to do that is continue to play around bot side, continue to force while they still don't have flash on mobility.
Yeah, and we're seeing exactly that, right? Frost Force, Trickster giving himself that death stare once again, giving him that dirty look like, listen, bro, I know what you're planning. I'm doing the exact same damn thing, and I'm not going to let you go through with it. Alex, though, has plans to take out Avino here. Nice double dash is coming through. Beautiful use of that ulti, but that final dash from Avino going to allow him to stay alive. Now, Frost Force is here. Sees dragons being taken, has Paucus on his shoulder, but can he find anything is the question. Health bar still a bit too high. Needs to wait for mobility to be there before they can make something happen here. Dragons down to 900 HP. Gonna pop that ulti and just gonna have to go ahead and back off. Nothing really gonna be found there, unfortunately. They're gonna go into the hands of Team Fish Taco, but maybe they look for the re-engage on a Trickster. Nah, he's a bit too fast for him.
Yeah, Trickster said, I got what I wanted, I'm out of here. And all of this is predicated off of Alex taking that stolen Spirit Rush and creating the advantage in mid to where it was always going to be a 4v3 if they really chose to engage on this. But Frost Force now has to spend time on the bottom side to get this push out done, to crash this wave so that they're not stuck in lane any longer, as they're going to be able to get that reset off. But you can see the damage is starting to get done. They're equal in their CS, but they're starting to get ahead in the early game with the Drake picked up, with the difference in kills.
Definitely showing. Oh, yes. Thank God, Richter. It's a Cloud Drake. You know what that means. No Cloud Soul going to be coming through this game. Love to see it. What I also would love to see, a little bit of action in this top lane. You know, the weak side Warriors, the weak side Kings, Big Daddy Denethor, Alorum. So far, they've just been kind of handshaking this farm, and that's kind of to be expected, but I want to see some one-on-one action going on.
Listen, I love Malphite, and the reason I love Malphite is he just chucks a rock and stops the trade. He does it in so many matchups, and this is another one.
It's the cheese wheel, man.
Yeah, you throw the cheese wheel. It's a rock, okay? You throw the cheese wheel, yeah. But Ivano's
gonna have to wait because Ivano's throwing away his lean and his HP bar. Down he goes into the hands of Trickster with a nice unstoppable onslaught coming through.
Yeah, and Trickster is doing exactly what you want to here in the early game, is staying up in farm and continuing to be aggressive in these lanes with just the easy setup CC that he has in his own kit. And that's the piece on the top side, is that Alorum is just essentially throwing out a cheese wheel to stop the hyper procs in the chase forward in what is a melee versus ranged matchup, and continuing to stay even in this farm. And they're both essentially going to look to do the same thing in the mid game, and that is group with their team, try to find that wombo combo engage, and then off of that win the team fight. So really good to see that they are both continuing to stay even here and no volatility. We love no volatility.
Yep. Ultimate coming in, and Denethor's in a tight spot, trying to dash away, but won't fight. A beautiful ulti stolen by Alex. He's going to throw him into the wall. Now mobility. Paucus in this bot lane, 2-on-2. EU Red might have just overthought his chances here. Mobility just barely going to go down, but they will go 1-on-1. And now it's going to be the supports duking it out. Frost Force on his way, though. They get spotted out, so the bubble going to get dropped. And Old Pal dishing out quite a bit of damage down to Paucus, and the jungle as well. Things are just going at it once again. Trickster grabbed himself that red buff and is just going to be able to walk on out of there. Alex is here with the roam as well. So is Frost Force. Question is, do you really want to go for this? Avino dashing forward, does get stunned up. Tidal Wave finds the mark, and they're going to find themselves first kill, number 1. Alex going to be able to walk out of that one like it's nothing. Frost Force is here. Paucus as well. Nice chains land. A lot of damage as well. And boom, they're going to go ahead and just blow up Frost Force like it's nothing. Paucus, you better run. Flash Bubble not going to find the mark. Paucus looking to dash on over to mobility, and they're going to stay alive for now.
Ivano stole the red buff in the beginning of that, by the way. Ivano gets the red buff and then trades it over to Alex. So buff transfer complete in the process there. But really great that Trickster was able to get away, and then the collapse coming through from Old Pal and Alex to help clean up the fight on the back end, and still equals out to just a small, well, a 3k gold lead at this point. We're going to call that small for now. and one neutral objective, but it's around this. Actually, I'm sorry. The Shelly's already been taken as well. I'm behind in the game. Trickster has picked up that, so all neutral objectives going over to TFT, who really have the onus placed on them. As you can look across the board and see a lot of the gold lead, both in the hands of Trickster as well as EU Red here for the TFT side of the matchup, who have to continue to try to accelerate because of their lack of scaling.
Yeah, Alarm here. Might just get found a nice ult over the wall. Those gonna keep him alive. And overall, man, it's understandable. Team Fish Taco, they're moving too fast through this game, man. They're doing exactly what they want to do, and they're doing it at an absolutely blazing pace. Excuse me. And I think one of the main things that you have to look at is where that, small, in quotations, 3K gold lead is, right? You look at the 4-0 Silas and Toasty Alex here, 2-0 Hecarim as well. And of course, some of that gold is going to also be in the hands of EU Red.
Yeah, and this becomes the thing, if you're watching at home and you're like, well, what does this mean? It means that from now until 20 minutes, if this gold lead stays the same at 3K, well then that means that it starts going towards Winthrop's side. They continue to meet up and keep the scales of time at the same. And oh my god,
Cullen gets dropped and EU Red says, listen buddy, stay out of the bot lane. It belongs to me.
That is the power of First Strike Lucian. As we can see, is now Frost Force is going to have to play. Well, it may be playing for their death because there's four people on the bot side.
Game, man. He's a track star. He's got to be if he wants to get out of this one. But the TP from Avenel is going to look to spook them off. Final chapter getting dropped as well. Going to go ahead and halt the assault here. Shelly's going to get dropped down, though, as well. They want this tier 1 out of the picture. Already, they want it dead. A lot of plates to still be got there, and they're going to get it. Drags up as well, so maybe they look to pivot on towards that. Not looking too likely. Still some backs need to come out before they look to start it up.
Yeah, they're going to have to look to reset a lot of gold. That should be a Gale Force done on EU Red, which absolutely it is, and we love to see it. But both TP burned out of Ivano does change things up. A little bit of time left on Toasty Alex's. We're just fighting topside.
Indeed he is. They're also fighting the bot side, Rektor, because mobility, it doesn't matter how fast you are, you do not outrun Trickster. Toasty Alex going in for the very audacious 1v3 right now. Trickster's there to back him up as well as Old Pal, and now they're going to look to run down Frost Force. That's their first victim. He's got the zoomies, he's got the Yumi heals, but it's not going to be enough. Pocket says, see ya, buddy. I can't stay here any longer. Dashes on over to Avenel, and so overall, that's going to be Frost Force in the dirt and a free drag for Team Fish Taco.
And now look at the gold lead. This is what I was saying, and they've done exactly that, but Toasty Alex may not be alive for much longer.
Oh, Toasty, dude, finds the... No, he stayed a little too long. That true damage from the Q coming back, gonna take him out, but you know what? Maybe you say it's a bait, but Trickster's not gonna quite find the dash there, so very unfortunate.
Yeah, the moment when you have a point-and-click dash, but then the player goes immune, so just dash into the air. Bot side, though, tier 1 is picked up. And this is what I was talking about, is that if the gold lead continues to be stable, it starts falling into Winthrop Garnet's side. But instead, based off of that hard, force on the bottom side, looking for a dive, able to get down the tier 1, as well as pick up another Drake, they're taking away all the scaling options, continuing to balloon this gold lead for the side of Team Fish Taco, who now that they have the bot lane tier 1 down, we're going to see the rotation of the bottom lane up to the top. Get this nice little 2v1 for a moment, try to lock the Gnar into the lane, and continue to create havoc elsewhere on the map.
So Havoc is going to be the name of the game for Winthrop Garnet. I will say Team Fish Taco is known for those, the mid-game things tend to happen in those that don't go for their favor, but they're going to look to find another kill. So much damage coming out. This guy does not stop shooting until the job is done. My God, Team Fish Taco, man, they're saying, listen, did you really just give us Lucianami? Like, you're going to regret that, right?
I know, and that's exactly it. The gauntlet was thrown down to say you either try to take away the Nami and put her with another good pairing that can use things like the Tidecaller's Blessing, but even then, just EU Red on his own with the Lucian, with the first strike, has so many tools for this because the culling is so fast-paced. You're able to get so much of the damage off with the first strike passive still there, and he's already on his way to that rapid-fire cannon, which it's insane how much damage you can put out because you can get the double auto procs from your passive. But now it's
so
going to be a
here.
little bit of a 2v2.
Gotta be
Double
careful.
TP.
Frost Force is here. Double TP coming through as well. They are looking to get this fight going. Charm coming through. Not quite going to find the knock of their mobility, though. In a bit of a hard spot here. Toasty Alex over the wall. Dashing once again. He's just staying on top of him. Heal comes through, but it's not going to be enough. Avino, Frost Force, and the rest of the game need to run, but they run right into the arms of Trickster, who's there doing a whole lot of damage. Question is, can they run fast enough? Flash comes through, and Avino just barely going to escape, and the same thing for Frost Force.
The double TP turns this entire play around and keeps Team Fish Taco in the driver's seat, able to pick up another kill. 1 in 5 on mobility. The man's not being allowed to scale. He still has 50 charges left on the Cole. He's about 2.5 items away from being a real champion. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, we've got bounties galore, and they're continuing to push and pressure the map as they pick up Shelly for the second time.
Dude, not only that, can we talk about Old Pal Trevor, right? Buying the book. That's a statement right there, and I love to see it. He is just so confident in his team that they know what they gotta do when they gotta do it, and so far they have not disappointed.
No, and that's the beauty of the adaptations and things we learned throughout the season, and that is the Enchanter supports opting into things like the Darksteel and Magi because of free stats it basically gives. And when you're wanting to play a kill lane, well, you want to kill people, and that's pretty great for things like the Darksteel. Yeah, I know. That is A+ analytics right there for you guys. If you run a kill lane, kill the enemy, and you'll receive gold for it. Thank you. I'll be here for coaching afterwards. But they balloon their gold lead. They continue to look, and this could be 100-0 again.
Yep, very close. Avino just barely keeping that one alive. Old Pal wasn't quite there to empower his autos, so they won't quite find it. Frost Forest and Pockets are both here. You're red. Definitely needs to be careful. Delorm. Denethor once again is in this side lane here, head checking that farm, but Denethor might want a little bit more. Not gonna opt to go too far forth though, as he knows there's dark and dangerous things lurking in that jungle.
And they do not control the jungle right now. This is one of the things with the Yuumi, is you gotta especially handhold them to try to maintain vision control. And right now, the only person on their team that can attempt to face check is really Frost Force and Denethor in the Mega Gnar form. Other than that, if Ivano or Mobility walk a little too far, well, then they're going to go back to the gray screen once again. So very precarious position for Winthrop Garnet to try to find any sort of stability in the game right now.
So here, speaking of positioning, already making their way down to this river as this next dragon is up in 30 seconds here. If Team Fish Taco can grab that, we'll have to hold on to that because Mobility is being ran down once again by Toasty Alex. Pop the ulti, so he's going to be able to run out of that one. Frost Force and Pockets are here. But with that drag up in 20 seconds, that's 3 members up in this top lane that are going to have to move down, and they cannot afford to give Team Fish Taco yet another dragon. Have 2 under their belt already. Just need 2 more, and then they'll have that Infernal Soul.
That is true. 2 + 2 will indeed be 4 here. As it looks as though they're going to opt to not even attempt to, and that's smart on their end. Try to collect gold. You've got 3 members topside, looking for this tier 1, looking for the objective bounty, but it's going to be denied away from them. Ekram's going to take a good hot minute to take this drag, though, solo on the bot side.
So here, the rest of his team, let him time, keeping the pressure up, and like you mentioned, right, Winthrop just like, listen, all right, gotta give it over. Not at that point just yet where we can take this fight and win, so we'll let them have it. One more drag. They've got another 5 minutes to get ready for that last dragon. Team Fish Taco can grab it. They'll have themselves that Infernal Soul. However, Winthrop Garnet are going to go ahead, trade that turret in the top lane, pick up some of that turret bounty gold as well. But second Rift Tail getting dropped into this bot lane. Team Fish Taco saying, listen, man, you take something from ours, we take something of yours.
Right, they took a lot of time on the top side of the map trying to make this play around the tier 1 that it's easy to read the play and say, okay, we're just going to rotate. We're already here down on the bottom side and give this tier 2.
Yep, CZMU looking for something here, and they are going to find themselves Old Pal here, but Trickster looking to apply some space with Alarm, and they're going to find their first pick on a Frost Force. Old Pal just barely not going to get out of there alive, goes down, but it doesn't even matter. His sacrifice was well worth it, because a double kill comes through from Trickster, looking to find another on Mobility, make that a triple kill, make that a quadra kill. No, Toasty Alex says, I want some gold too, and with that, that's going to be an ace for Winthrop Garnet.
And the snowball continues to tumble down there. They had to use so many tools just to get Old Pal, just to get the support. That's when you know you're at kind of a bad point in the game. Made them lose some stacks on the Medjais, able to get some back though as a consolation. Up to 8, was it 12? and that should be right around the point. Yeah, Lucidian, Ionian Boots Lucidity coming through for EU Red, gonna have more ability haste to be able to sling those shots out that are doing a ton of damage. But at this point, it's kind of out of hand. The good news is you do have at least supers pushing on the bottom side that Mobility can try to use to get back into the game. Free income for them. But they have about 3 minutes to try to farm out that Phantom Dancer as well as an Affinity Edge. I just don't think the math is there.
Look, listen, dude, Trevor's just he's a bit of a slippery fish, man. What can I say? He's playing his champion quite well, but like you mentioned, right, 3 minutes left to farm it up, but they're gonna look for picks instead, and this is not what you want. Old pal is gonna eat the dirt, going into the hands of Pockets Alarm with the flash forward, looking to run away. He's got the speed boost, but is it gonna be enough? I think the answer is gonna be no. They're on top of him, and they put him into the dirt. Nothing Trickster can do but watch get stunned by the final chapter. Blazing Stampede, but an Ice Ult from Trickster is gonna keep him alive, and now like they might just opt to start up this Baron, and this is exactly the kind of play that Winthrop Garnet needs if they want to get back into this thing. But the question is, will they live to tell the tale? Because Team Fish Taco is not going to make it easy for them. EU Red getting some damage out onto Avenal there. Nice ulti coming drop though from Frost Forest. Damage does come through, is going to force them off the Baron, and with a lot of low HP bars, Rector, I don't think they can take it anymore.
No, and that's all they had to do, right? Just the use of the culling to dissuade the play, but they might be looking for more. Toasty Alex saying, I'm pretty strong. I think I might be able to take you.
Oh, Toasty going for the audacious 1v4. Can he find it? Goes gold. Needs to buy time for the team to get there. Dashes away. The rest of the squad is here. TP does come out looking for Frost Forest. Don't find the damage though. Aveno looking to maybe go over the wall. Doesn't find the charm. They find the knockup. They find a whole lot of damage. And Trickster and Toasty Alex are going to get themselves 2 kills. And they're looking to run Winthrop Garnet into the dirt. With those two, a lot of low HP bars. Old Val needs to be careful. Lorem is here. Finds a slow. Tidal Wave gets dropped. Not going to find anyone, but does zone them away from the turret. But they do have to respect that Udyr. They've got to respect mobility. So they are going to back off for now.
And that was quite the hero play. Toasty Alex saying, I think we have the timers. I'm going to use the stopwatch to extend out this play. Able to pick up 2 more on the backside of it with that stolen Gnar ult. And this really continues to bring back the fact that this is a 10k gold differential. Just EU Red using the culling dissuades the Baron after 2 good picks, and then they're able to pick up 2 picks in return after the play to continue to keep this game stabilized in their favor. With only a minute left until Dragon, the Affinity Edge has to be close on EU Red, and that becomes a very hard thing to approach when them having the tempo and priority.
Yeah, super huge that they sent E-Red into the mid lane as well, while the rest of the squad is up in that top lane, right? E-Red able to secure that mid tier 2. That's even more gold going into his pockets, right? He was ahead before. He's hella ahead, and now already has that BF sword looking to build into the next item here. It's only gonna get worse, and that's gonna be a bit of an issue, Rector.
Yeah, it only gets worse from here. Again, a full item down right now. That's at least 2k gold differential in the bot lane for these opposite 80 carries that have made so much of a difference. Is Avano.
Jesus, so much damage. Avano just barely gonna stay alive. Tidal Wave not gonna find any knockups here. Winthrop Garnet trying to secure themselves the position in the river here. 10 seconds till this next drag is up. 10 seconds till Team Fish Taco can look to grab themselves soul, but Trickster says, I'll be having none of that. Dashes forward. Ulti gets dropped from Frost Forest though. That's gonna be a huge cooldown as well. Now Trickster looking to start up this dragon here. Alorum being the bouncer that he is, looking to keep them away, but Frost Forest says, I will not be deterred. The heal's coming through. He's doing his damn. This final chapter gets dropped, but it's just too much damage. And now Team Fish Taco is gonna run through them. 2 members down. Aveno's next on the list. Flash over the wall, stays alive though. Pakas getting on top of him with the Bob Shield as well, has the heals, but it doesn't matter. A double kill, a triple kill, and a 4-man as well. Another ace for Team Fish Taco and Regdor. It's looking like the base is wide open. The death timers are high, and game 1 might just be going to Team Fish Taco.
Team Fish Taco has been in the lower bracket undeterred by the fact that every game was their last, and they continue to play with such confidence, now up 1-0 against Winthrop Garnet.
Wow, that was a bit of a slapping it coming through from TFT. Listen, every game could have been their last in that lower bracket. It's the same thing here. They're looking to make it Winthrop's last game in this next upcoming game, because that's going to be that first win under their belt. This is a best of 3 series. And honestly, if Winthrop doesn't wake up, I'm a little worried for them, man, because this TFT is looking, I would say, fierce, but that's a bit of an understatement.
It's always there's a feeling out period, but with a best of 3, it's such a small margin for error. One bad draft, one bad read puts you in a position to where you don't get to have like the tri-code says, and that's the WIN. That's the win that's missing here. But overall, you can see what they were trying to do. I would love, if you're a Winthrop fan, the way back is, I feel like, choosing something a little bit more in line where we're at currently. When you look at the Lucian Nami lane, you have to respect that you can't just ban away the Callista. You can't just ban away just bits and pieces of this. You either have to full ban all of these early game champions like the Callista, the Lucian, the Draven, or you have to have a better answer into it than the double scaling bot lane. Because we saw, you lose Flash, you lose your life. And it's just going to be that on repeat. And if EU Red and Old Pal get ahead, you might as well just stay dead.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, you might as well just hands away from the keyboard, because we saw exactly what happened. That any Winthrop fans in the chat, now is the time. Find those emotes to spam to support, because Winthrop backs against the wall now. They're going to have to win 2 games back to back, but if any team can do it, I think Winthrop can. We'll have to wait and see. We'll throw it to a quick break, and then when we're back, we'll get into draft for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 is in the books, and honestly, I gotta say, Rector, they say that the history is written by the victors, and honestly, I'm feeling like game 1 was a bit of an autobiography from TFT, because that was... Domination is putting it like, that was crazy performance coming out from, honestly, all the members of TFT.
Yeah, no, they drafted an early game comp that needed bot lane proactivity and skirmishing, and that's exactly what they did. They never stepped off the gas, and minus the that one fumble around the topside jungle that led to 2 picks and a scary Baron scenario that they were able to turn around. It was pretty cleanly played and didn't give too many opportunities to Winthrop to actually come back into the game.
Yeah, and I feel like while the easy solution for Winthrop would just be, just win. Just do better. Just don't lose, right? I will ask you as a resident big brain, what needs to change? Because I feel like personally, we really need to take a look at the ball lane. Because I feel like top lane, pretty good. Big Daddy Denethor holding his own, right? Didn't really have any opportunities to pop off, but was holding his own great in the lane. For us, he was trying in the jungle, but just couldn't really find any opportunities. But bot lane, I think, is where we really need to, work some things out.
Yeah, I don't disagree. One of the things is for Pockets specifically, looking over the last 3 patches and what he's played, Enchanters lower down on the list only had 1 or 2 games of things like Yumi, and on the opposite side has like 7 or 8 games of Leona. Very comfortable on engage, very comfortable on these tanks, these melees. Hey, let's go for it. Get them back towards something that they're more comfortable on and creates that proactivity. And additionally, puts you in a position to where you have a few more engage tools. Because the biggest engage they had was Frost Force, was the Udyr. The Gnar is only circumstantial, only when you got the right time and the right space to do so. So give yourself something more towards comfort on the bottom side. Give something to mobility that has a little bit more early game presence and is actually able to skirmish. We saw, like, even with the Sivir, had some nice 1-for-1s. They're able to get the better of EU Red and force a kill onto Old Pal instead. And those sort of things can help create that. With Winthrop staying on the red side, I would love to see them early rotate a more proactive bot lane that can try to match EU Red and Old Pal in the early game.
Well, we can speculate all we want, Rector. Let's find out if they were listening to you precisely, because we're in the draft of what is possibly the final game of tonight. You can see 1-0 right now for TFT. It's a best of 3. I'm not mathematically inclined, Rector, but I know for a fact that 2 wins makes you win a best of 3. So that means that Winthrop Garnet, they got to win back-to-back, and that's a bit of a tough task when you're going up against a menacing team like Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, Team Fish Taco have cemented themselves as the team to beat here in the lower bracket. They are the final boss. They are the ones who can gatekeep and girl boss you out of this tournament. And really, it comes down to, like we talked about, this bot lane and Trickster. They are the ones who are the engine here. Toasty Alex with some beautiful plays, but this is where it was all played around. Stacking Drakes, getting the kills onto EU Red, and having them accelerated in the early game to be unlocked on the map. And that's what Winthrop knows now, or hopefully they know now, and that's what they have to mitigate here. But so far, it's just a run back on bans thus far.
I was going to say, so far, not seeing too much different coming out. Obviously, Team Fish Taco probably don't really feel the need just yet to ban anything differently, because every one of their lanes was honestly doing pretty well. So it's really going to be up to Winthrop to swap things up. And speaking of swapping, Rector, no side swap coming through here for Winthrop. Opted to stay on the red side. We surprised by that at all?
I am a little bit. I know I said I was a red side believer. I believe in the counter pick, but blue side undeniably has some strength here. The biggest thing will be is that if they're going to go right back into what we saw before, so if it's game 1, it's going to be a Caitlyn ban and a Kalista ban. If that's the case, and they choose to take the B1 Lucian again, you know what? Take away the Nami. Either ban Nami on R3 here and let the Kalista through, or have a plan to align that up with somebody who can, like I said, utilize the Tidecaller's Blessing really well and play around what is an Enchanter bot lane. But again, that's not in Pockets' book really per se, and not something they look super comfortable on based off of game 1. So they are in a bit of a conundrum where they can't ban everything they need and they can't handshake everything they need. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go.
Yeah, gotta take some L's here, L's there. I gotta take some W's on the other places. But for now, bans are looking incredibly similar, right? I'm not gonna lie. So far, it's looking to me like Winthrop is saying, it's not you, it's me. We know what we gotta fix up in our comp, and we'll do exactly that, because so far, all these bans, there we go, finally something different. The Silas, Toasty Alex's Silas being taken off the board there. They don't want to see that. Those ults being stolen, man. Toasty Alex was putting on a bit of a display on how to play Silas in that mid lane.
Yeah, he did have that nice 2v1 under the tower, right? And was able to trade kills. We only got to see it a little bit there because there was fighting all over the rift. But Toasty Alex is a bit of a menace, and here it comes. It's going to be a B1 Lucian. It might say a hover, but I know it's real. So the question becomes, Winthrop, what do you got in the books? What can you do to stop EU Red and Old Pal?
Yeah, Winthrop is saying, listen, what you going to do, brother? You got two choices. Take away the Nami or don't. If you don't, you know what's happening. Trevor gets it. You're done in the bot lane. If you do, you have to pick something accordingly since they didn't opt to ban anything of those likes, right? The Lucian or the Nami in their first couple of bans. So Winthrop feels like struggling as well with the question whether or not they're going to see the Kai'Sa being locked in here. So now is the ultimate question, right? R2 is still available. Do they look to take away the Nami or do they give it back over into the hands of Trevor, who's shown us what he can do with it? And it's pretty nasty if you're not on Trevor's side. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and Kai'Sa is additionally very short range, very similar attack range to the Lucian. So in the isolated 1v1 with no minions around, it could be a very easy or a very even matchup. But instead, we're going to slam the Aatrox, a champion I said neither one of these top laners really play. But, Denethor's out here to prove me wrong. They don't call him Big Daddy Denethor for no reason.
Very true, man. Hey, it is what it is, but that, of course, means that the Nami is still available. Now, of course, that begs the question. As Winthrop, Garnet, they're like, listen, man, go ahead, pick the Nami. We know what's coming. We've got something in return. And so far, it's looking like Team Fish Taco says, okay, what you gonna do about it? It's still a hover, but it is a lock-in now. They're gonna go ahead, grab themselves the Nami once again. EU Red, Old Pal, just looking to run things back. Oh, no.
Well, no. I'm gonna keep, listen.
We're not gonna say anything just yet. Not gonna say anything just yet, but let's just say that the hover looks spicy, looks tasty. Yeah, we'd like to see it.
The hover is a special. The hover is the one thing you don't find on the menu. It's like if you go to In-N-Out, you gotta say something, and instead, you know what? Stop messing with me. It is the Nocturne. Yeah, you know what? We didn't knock 3 times before we said it, but nonetheless, this is adaptation. As TFT, if they just try to run back their draft, stock and standard minus this Silas, I don't think it has the same effect, and additionally, it plays into Winthrop's hand. You have to continue to adapt in this game number 2 to show something slightly different, but very similar, which is the Nocturne for the Hecarim instead. It has a lot of backline access, is a power farmer, and has the ability to impact the map early on. So pretty much same.
Definitely so, and I feel also this in itself is a good champion to keep Frostforce in check. We've seen that Frostforce likes to, pick those, especially I'm thinking of the Kindred, right? He likes to get aggressive, likes to get up in there, and a better champ than to lock in that Nocturne, especially with that lethal tempo, man. He is a bit of a menace, a bit dangerous to face in the 1v1s in the jungle. But regardless, we'll have to wait and see what Winthrop looks to do because we're in the second ban phase. And actually, we're going to be the one to take Kindred off the board as well as that Galio. Team Fish Taco looking to follow suit with those mid lane bans, really just running it back from game 1. The Akali, wonder if we're going to see the Victor being taken off the table as well. Wouldn't surprise me too much.
Now, see, the thing that interests me here is that the Kindred is banned after already showing Nocturne. So maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they think that this could be an Alorum special, and they might be throwing the Nocturne up to the top lane. Not 100% sure. Top lane Nocturne has seen some changes and seen some ups and downs. But if there's anybody I know that would play something like lane Nocturne, it would be Alorum.
That's true here. We do have the jungle locked in for Winthrop. It's going to be that VA going, honestly. I like to see it. Something that really speaks to Frost's place. I likes to get those skirmishes going. Likes to get those 2v2, 2v3s, etc. Get those resets going. Get snowballing. Get ahead early and just turn the game into his favor. But let's see what Team Fish Taco has as a response. And it might just be that lane Nocturne, Rector. You called direct dominance strikes once again because that's a Trundle lock-in.
Yeah, they took my beard, but they can't take away my brains here. I'm still able to call some things. And one thing that Winthrop's missing right now that it looks like, TFT reads the play, and that is the Syndra. So Viego is like one of these champions that needs a lot in the draft, and specifically needs something to create corpses, needs hard single target damage. And Syndra's probably one of the best single target burst damage champions in the game right now for the mid lane. But Ahri, if picked, is a really great, and it's going to be locked in, is a great secondary because it creates lockdown and it creates space for Frost Force to get this corpse generation and start hopping body to body and changing the team fights around. So really well opted, all in. We're going to hit you in the face, and we're going to keep hitting you in the face style from Winthrop, which is vastly different than game one. I can say that.
Yep, definitely so. Here, the Ari as well. Avino had a pretty nice showing on that Ari going up against Toasty Alex. It was nice to see dashing a lot. Just didn't find as many opportunities I feel as he was looking for. But regardless, it's a new game. And look to find something new. I am so curious how Alorum's top lane Nocturne is going to fare into the Aatrox as well. Obviously has that spell shield, so that is going to be quite useful in blocking maybe one of those Darkened Blade Qs or maybe the chains coming through. I don't know how he's going to pilot it, but I damn well want to see it. I want to get in game right now, Regdor.
No, I'm right there with you, and this topside matchup is the opposite of everything we've talked about and why we say we have to watch the top side of the map, and that is because this is super volatile. Like, if Alorum falls behind, if the Darkened Blade is able to get some blood, able to get some early kills, then this becomes unplayable for him. It's going to require Trickster to spend time nursing the top lane back to health. But like we've talked about before, you've got the same bot lane. You have the Lucian Nami that are now facing something with a lot more adaptability in the early game. You have to pay attention. So you really need your top laner to be a strong, independent, I don't know what Nocturne is, but strong, independent monster
strong,
here on the top
Darkin.
side.
Strong, independent Darkin.
Wait, is Nocturne a Darkin? Okay, he's a demon.
Demon,
okay.
Not a Darkin.
Yeah, I was like, come on. I know I'm bad at lore, but I don't remember any.
I guess
like,
I'm worse,
weapon.
dude. I guess I'm worse.
Our producer right now is actually crying. So
I'm being
vividly
flamed
because he
hard
said-
right now.
Yeah. Long story short, Echo's not in the good graces. His camera might get turned off soon.
I might be silenced. I might be muted, but you know who's not going to be muted? Team Fish Taco, because they're looking to take game number 2, Rector. If they can, that's an automatic win, and that moves them on to the grand finals November 18th, facing UST. Now, of course, it's not going to be easy. Winthrop Garnett, man, they have shown us they've got what it takes to stay in this competition, and now they need to show us a whole lot more than they did in game 1. They got to win back to back if they want to stay in this thing.
And this is the 3-man look down on the bottom side. They are going to get that early ward. Does mean that Toasty Alex should get level 2 on the first wave as opposed to a minion plus a wave. And really trying to set up the bot lane for success. But it's Alorum here with the lethal tempo.
Indeed, but Denethor here with the rest of the squad. Old pal stepping forward, needs to be careful. Frost Force trying to find the kill, won't quite get it though, super low. Ignite does come out, Trickster's there as well. It's just back to back, and I like it. Already aggression coming out from both of these teams. At the end of the day, no one's gonna fall, but already lines have been crossed in the sand.
Yeah, and that is going to be the Ignite Burn. The only summoner spell, though, kept the flash here on Old Pal. Incredibly important. But is going to have to take a base, and that should offset them getting to lane. So that's going to force E-Red to have to wait a little while. Wait for this wave to come in. Important things to note. This is mobility on the Kaisa, one of my favorite champions in the game. Is going with the older style, and that is the Hail of Blades. So it's going to be able to knock out this Caustic Wounds, that passive early on, if we're able to find a Dredge line from Bacchus, who's on his comfort. He's on the engage. We're hoping to see something more explosive out of Winthrop Garnett as they looked a little sluggish in game 1 and got outpaced.
Well, it's so important to note. We got prediction as well on the Twitch. Hey, listen, if you think you know how this is going to end, wager those points, baby. Put your money where your mouth is, and we'll have to see who comes out on top. But regardless, it's the calm before the storm, Regdor. This time around, really just a little bit of trading going through here. I'm looking at top lane especially. I'm looking to see which one of these two weak side warriors is going to become the weak side king.
I don't even know if you can call him weak side anymore. This is carry versus carry, baby. This is a lot. And Alorum definitely on the Nocturne does not want to be locked in lane. Wants to get an advantage and be able to roam here. Has that built-in cleave on the auto attacks to try to get the push as we're seeing early on. And man, Toasty Alex, I really want to see how they're able to do on this Syndra, the new and improved, the scaling machine here in the mid lane.
Definitely so far. Been doing a great, showing a lot of damage already coming through, keeping Avino in check here. sure that he can't step up to these waves. A lot of damage coming through. Scatter the Weak finds the mark once again. Maybe Toasty Alex looks for more. Now just wanted the electrocute pot proc, and that is a pot being burnt now as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a big thing here for Toasty Alex with the scaling. Wants to be able to hit those two ability combos to continue to stack up those splinters. The first mark of 40 to get to that secondary Q charge really unlocks their ability to abuse the Ivano in this lane.
The junglers are here and they're waiting. Regdor Trickster going for that long con gank around the bushes here, while Frost Force is waiting in that bush. Of course, ever since the Viego nerfs, right, you can't charge up the Spectral Maw while popping the Shroud. It makes it a lot harder for him to find those ganks, and unfortunately, he's not going to find one in this bot lane. Both of these junglers were looking. Not going to find anything, though, and so just some recalls going to come through as they crash this wave.
Just looking for something early on, and this is what drew the ire right of TFT. Oh no.
Charging up the Spectral Maw, finds the damage onto Old Pal. Will he find the kill is the question. Old Pal got to make that bubble count, but it's just going to be able to walk off. Toasty Alex is here as well. So is EU Red, and they're going to look to find something. Pockets is here as well, and they're looking to turn onto him. Dredgeline, though, into the wall. Make sure he can get away. Toasty Alex still finding a little bit of damage, but ultimately, once again, very reminiscent of the start of the game, actually. Gonna force that flash out from Pockets, but it's a Hex Flash, so it's not big of a loss.
Yeah, that was a lot of skirmishing just for a few summoner spells. At the end of the day, ends up as pretty much a net neutral because of that Hex Flash. But you can already see there's a lot more map movement from the side of Winthrop Garnet, a lot more proactivity here in the early game. And that's exactly what we wanted to see, is continue just a little bit of gold lead towards their side, mostly off of CSing. But this is already what we've been looking for from the side of Winthrop to really be in this series.
Frost Forest back up top once again, charging up Spectral Maw. They're gonna find the stun. Can they find the damage is the question. Alorum had to pop the spell shield, and they're looking to pop him. Won't quite find it though. Flash under the turret, gonna stay alive. Denethor is there, but that Trickster there as well, waiting in the ropes. The question is, does he look to go in? Does get spotted out by the ward. The recalls do come through, so they're going to escape. Unfortunate, but a nice attempt.
That, and this is what we were talking about, the difference in proactivity now. It comes onto the top side with these carries of something you have to get something accomplished with and try to find them an advantage so that they can take over side lane, so they can force Alorum to be stuck there as opposed to being out on the map looking for these ults, looking for the paranoia to come through.
Indeed it is. Already, Rector, I'm looking at predictions, man. It's 91% for Team Fish Taco. Not a lot of Winthrop believers in the chat, or at least they just don't want to put up their points. Understandable. I wouldn't want to lose my points either, so you never know. But regardless, how do you feel about that prediction, man? Are you siding with the Team Fish Tacos, or are you a Winthrop believer?
I bet the house on Winthrop because I like the long odds here. That's 5K points put down because I put my money where my mouth is, and already showing a lot of that here in the early game with their ability to match aggression. Nothing so far at this point in the game that shows that either team's able to find a distinct advantage. Still 0 for 0, still looking for the first blood to really get something moving.
Indeed, we are 7 minutes in, not a single kill on the board. This is not like in game 1, Rector. I want some blood on the rift, man. I want to see some skulls get cracked.
Yeah, no, listen. We're gonna get fighting eventually. You gotta wait. As we do see, it's gonna be the serrated blade or serrated dirk first here on mobility. So probably going towards that Kraken Slayer into collector build, trying to get the upgraded Acathian Rain, which is a huge piece of this Kaisa skirmishing power early on. They have to play a bit of support v support mind games, because if you hit the dredge line as Pockets, a bubble's going to follow it up because they know where you're going to go. You're going to collide with EU Red. It's an easy kind of hitbox, but it's going to be on how mobility is able to position to try to get those isolated Acathian Rains down, those isolated Qs to try to win out in these trades.
So first drag is going to go down into the hands of Winthrop. Lorm, if you're looking for something here, had that absolute terror stacked up, bit of damage coming through, but it's going to handshake some damage instead. Regardless, it's 8 minutes, man, and overall, we're just seeing some training coming through. It's the calm before the storm. It's like we mentioned. I feel like at this point, we're not going to see like some isolated first blood. It's going to be like a full 4-on-4 skirmish coming through. There's going to be bodies everywhere on the Rift, Rigdor.
It's coming up here soon. Not an objective to fight around yet.
Looking to find it. Bubble onto Pockets here. Part of the Spectrum off flash for it as well. Not going to find the Q, though. Bit of damage comes through. And once again, it's so unfortunate. Frost Forest, third time around looking for a gank, but can't quite find it. Falls a little bit short.
Once again, a little bit short in this matchup. And now we've gone the most minutes, I think, in a series without getting a kill thus far. Nearly at 9. And just summoner spells blown left and right. But the early game is going so much better for Winthrop this time around, picking up a neutral objective. Looks like it's going to be traded for the Eye of the Herald on the top side in Trickster's back pocket. And maybe Shelly's what we need. You know, maybe it's going to be a push around this Rift Herald that's going to pull out the first blood and find a distinct advantage.
It's not looking likely if Trickster has anything to say about it, but the dash does come through from Avenal. Gonna keep him alive there with that ulti. Instead, just gonna look to crash that wave. And once again, it's a gank that doesn't quite find the mark.
The story of game number 2 thus far is proactive junglers and not getting kills. Name a better combo.
Indeed, I can think of one, man. It's called Pockets and mobility. They find the hook, they find the knock up, they find the damage, and Trevor finds the gray screen.
And that's how you circumvent the dredge line into bubble play, and that is you just, you know, knock up the Ahri.
Oh, Avenal, bye-bye.
Power.
Damn, unleashed power indeed. Down Avenal goes. Gonna go ahead and go 1-for-1 in the grandest scheme of things, and already Toasty Alex is looking to set the precedent.
Yeah, and they've got the counterplay here, the 1-for-1 now, trading the support for the mid laner, but that kill very useful on mobility, as you can see, sitting on a bunch of AD here as Frost Forest is once again being a pain in the side, stealing away the big raptor. We love to see it.
He's a menace, dude. He is a menace. He is just doing his damnedest to apply as much pressure as he can. Even if a lot of times the plays aren't working out, pressure is still being mounted. And I feel that we're seeing Winthrop reaping the benefits, right? This time around in game number 1, Team Fish Taco was already just running circles around Winthrop Garnet. This time around, it's still fairly evened out. You've got a kill on the mid laner, and you've got a kill in the bot lane here. And top lane, they're looking to get a kill as well. If Denethor just steps a little bit too far forward, Trickster's here as well. They get spotted out, I believe. I think they did some, not TP, recall coming through from Denethor. He knows something's awry.
Yeah, he knows something is up, and he waits around for the fish to leave as well. The biggest thing is going to be is now Toasty Alex has a bit. He's going to have to blow the flash.
Frost Forest, dude. He's literally just sitting in the wings waiting, charging the stun dash from Red to get away. Heartbreaker to gain some distance, but it doesn't matter. The lights were turned out, and they didn't even see death coming. Allure, I'm gonna pick up one Avenal, trying to find himself one as well. It doesn't quite have the damage though. A beautiful play, a beautiful TP, but Red might just undo everything if he gets caught out here. Nice bubble, gonna find Pockets, so needs to flash over the wall to escape Trickster. With the smite, gonna find himself the pick onto Avenal. Now Pockets and mobility are running, and I think Pockets might have to give the ultimate sacrifice. Finds the knockup, but mobility just barely gets out alive. Pockets says, "Run, brother. I will die for the cause."
That is the opening that we were looking for. An interaction I didn't know was possible was the paranoia into TP from Alorum, doing what we talked about, getting out on the map and using that ultimate to turn the fight around, making it a trade up. Now
Frost
2 towers,
run, Frost, run, Frost, 2 towers and a kill. That's what I call a bargain. 3 for 1 Rector. Overall, they get both tier 1 and tier 2 in this mid lane. They have cracked the map wide open, and TFT is looking to stay.
Hey, TFT with a 3k gold lead. You know how this one turns out, right? Denethor able to trade back a tier 1 on the top side, though. That's going to be a nice bit of gold in his pocket.
Ooh, nice hook from Pockets. Question is, can he find the solo bolo? Toasty Alex running for his life, and nah, they're going to have to let him go. Raptors, come on, do something. Kill him, please.
You just want blood in this game. You don't care where it comes from.
Blood for the blood god.
We'll have to see how many splinters Toasty Alex is on. Should be around that 40 plus mark, having the second Q pulled up for them. Yeah, 59, almost 60. So at 60, W now gets empowered, deals true damage on the slam down, adding a little bit more to the tank. And once they get on that Shadow Flame, they're going to be sitting pretty. So this is a scaling threat from the side of TFT. If EU Red's not able to continue to get online, still doesn't have the Gale Force in their pocket yet, not the breakout game like game number 1, they've still got Toasty Alex in the back pocket. We know what this man can do with a lead.
Yeah, because it really feels like we're feeling kind of the fact that this game is a lot more equalized. This time around, game 1, I mean, if you saw Old Pal and EU Red on your screen, you knew that you might just be dead. We kept seeing those full hundreds to zeros coming through. This time around, you have to be a bit more tactical about it if they want to find those kills. A lot of times they're going to need a bit more backup, but regardless, TFT are still in a pristine position to win this thing. Winthrop Garnet did pick up their second drag. They're going to look to make sure that Team Fish Taco is not going to be able to stack drags like in game number 1. They're doing a pretty good job of keeping those neutral objectives under control. I feel that they really need to get this next Herald, though. They need to utilize it very well and crack that mid lane open and get a little bit of redemption for what TFT did to them.
Yeah, no, that is the name of the game. Will be around this Herald and hopefully getting Denethor involved. Has silently just been up in the top lane, able to take that tier 1, now has the Eclipse, and can be such a big team fight threat because they can soak up a large bit of this damage. You always want some sort of champion that can stand in front of Lucian and say, I don't really care about your culling. It doesn't matter to me as much. And with the innate lifesteal in the Darkens kit, plus the World Ender, it should be able to help solidify as a front line for the side of Winthrop Garnet around this objective on the top side of the map.
So here, Trickster on that top lane as well. So far, Alarm and Denethor. I'm still waiting to see that one-on-one. I want to see it. Just go to like the Herald pit, fight it out, see who's the better top laner. You know, you pick both of these carries. I expect that much, but it's looking like we're getting some blood, Rektor. This is what I like to see. The Rift Herald is online and it's been started up by Team Fish Taco. It's about halfway done. Frost Force and the rest of the gang are here waiting for that opportunity. They find the Dredge line, they find the knockup, the Heartbreaker lands, and Toasty Alex is in the dirt. Nice 3-man stun coming through. Heartbreaker once again. Choo-choo! Welcome to Reset City. That's gonna be the second one. They find the hook, give them another Heartbreaker. They don't even need it. The charm comes through, and Trickster eats the dirt. And just like that, Winthrop Garnet turned this thing around.
And there it is, the composition online and ready to go. Everything Viego needs, lockdown and burst damage. Those two things create the world where it's Reset City, baby. And after the first one, it's just like Pringles. Once you pop, you just can't stop. And they get 3 kills plus the Rift Herald on the play and swing this gold lead 2K in their favor.
Indeed, indeed. It is still a long way to go. We might just have a long night ahead of us, Rektor. And that's what I want to see. I was a little worried here that we were about to be just over and out, right? But Winthrop Garnet says, no, sir. We have fought our way to this position tooth and nail. We have been dominant, and we are going to do that exact same thing. We were sleeping game 1, but we're wide awake now.
And you know what? TFT has this thing, right? You call it like something like rogue time. You call it a mid-game hiccup. They've been known in the past to have these really strong early games and then watch it kind of slip away. We've watched a 15K gold differential end up being the losing team in series here in the UPL, and that's because these teams play so well around objectives. They play so well around their win conditions. And as we can see, Winthrop, in staring down the barrel of being knocked out of this tournament, has woken up and has found their way to play the game.
Indeed, they have, but TFT looking to find something here. 2 members in the bush, not quite going to find the assassination they were looking for. So, going to back off and said, still another minute before this next dragon is online. And this time, the pages have been flipped. The tables have been turned. Winthrop Garnet are the ones looking to stack these dragons up, looking to secure themselves that mountain soul in comparison to game 1, where it was Team Fish Taco. But it's not looking too good. Tidal Wave gonna find a lot of damage. EU Red stays alive though. Trickster does pick up one. World Ender, it's been popped, trying to get on top of him, won't quite find it though. Alarm in the backlines, needs a flash to get away. A lot of damage coming through, and Mobility stays alive. Nice 3-man stun does come through. Denethor kiting back, but the calling, they need to find a lot of damage, won't quite get it. Toasty Alex gonna eat the dirt with a nice charm. Now Frost Force steps forward, does get chomped on though, so needs to be careful. Big Daddy Denethor is unfortunately Big Dead Denethor. He had to eat the dirt. He was the sacrifice, and his team might just find the same fate. They find Trickster, though. We're back at Reset City. Population, all of Team Fish Taco. Frost Force looking for the Heartbreaker, finds the stun. Will he find the damage is the question. The answer is not quite. And it's looking at me like Winthrop Garnett will not go down without a fight.
No, they are still well in this game, and although it almost, I think it cost Pox his life, he makes the snap engage, is able to get a ton of burst damage down and really force the issue. Team Fish Taco had to try to aggress and can establish control over this river, but it was the re-engage. It was Denethor giving his life to create this window of opportunity for Mobility and Frost Forest to pick up these kills. 5-0 on the Kaisa. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but that's one of his best champions, and he's showing why it is right now.
Absolutely. And they pick up that Herald, right? And just like I said, right, they need to utilize that crack bit open. They do exactly that, and it gives them breathing room to grab this third dragon. 3 drags under their pocket. In their pocket, excuse me. I don't know how you put it under your pocket. And that means that in 4.5 minutes, Winthrop Garnett can look to secure themselves Dragon Soul. And I mean, that would just be a beauty for them. Getting that extra shield, getting that extra percentage armor and magic resist. It's going to make it so much harder for the rest of Team Fish Taco to crack this very tough nut that is Winthrop Garnett.
No, absolutely. They are resilient. They continue to fight on here as Denethor is going to take a little bit of damage there. But as you can see, the Darken is resilient, and that Mountain Soul, like you said, is going to help create a better front line for just having basically double bruisers and skirmishers from the side of Winthrop Garnett. And they are playing out the mid game exactly like they need to. They have slowed down the pace for this bottom lane. EU Red only on 1.5 items right now. Doesn't even have the rapid fire cannon. Meanwhile, we see that full-fledged collector on the side of Mobility.
Indeed, but they might be looking to collect something here on Frost Force. Heartbreaker over the wall. You can flash all you want, but it doesn't matter. Team Fish Taco is on the offensive. The culling gets dropped. Can't quite find the damage, but they find the jungler. Question is, do they look to start up the Baron here? Avano, maybe looking for you. Red finds the charm, finds the damage, finds the Everfrost. And will he find the kill? He will not! A nice scatter the weak. They test Avano, and he was weak indeed. Down he goes.
And what looked like an amazing pick has been turned around, as now Denethor needs to get the hell out of dodge. That is 4 members strong that can take him down. And they're starting to try to find their way back into the game. Really playing well around that vision. They invested 3 ultimates to take down Frost Forest. But as you can see, almost halfway back up for the calling, and the power unleashed nearly 3/4 of the way there as well.
Oh, we're getting there, man. It's getting rowdy, it's getting feisty, it's getting bloody, and this is what I love to see. We're in that mid, right? We're getting close to that late where Team Fish Taco, like you've mentioned before, right? They have the habit of tripping up a little bit and falling on their face, and so they have to be careful. Winthrop Garnett's been finding some great angles here, been doing a great job of staying ahead. They need to do it a little longer, though. They still have some ground to cover, Rector. I'm looking at that tier 1 in the bot lane. It needs to go down. I'm looking at all these tier 2s as well that need to start falling.
Yeah, it is exactly that. Team Fish Taco have lost a few skirmishes, a few critical blows struck their way, but it hasn't led in movement towards the enemy nexus. It hasn't resulted in Garnett, Winthrop finding these things, as now it's going to be a little bit of a 1v1 here in the side lane.
Forward indeed, looking to take on that tier 1 like mentioned, but Denethor does have to be careful. Gonna get collapsed on, but now gonna be good. Gonna look to back off. It's at the calm before the storm. Once again, Rector, a minute 40 before this next dragon is up. So still some time for that. The Baron is online, and I'm looking at him, and I definitely feel like either team, if they can find that first initial pick, especially onto Frost Forest or Trickster respectively, that might be an instant Baron rush angle.
Now, important, there is double TP for both teams, so they can take this time to create pressure around side lanes, or taking the recalls like we see both the top laners doing, and then be able to TP into the fight. Try to find these interesting angles, play around vision like we saw Ivano try to do. Sadly, didn't result in a kill, but these are the things you need to try to set up those picks like you talked about. And it looks as though Winthrop Garnett wanting to establish some control around this Baron. Wouldn't put it past Team Fish Taco to trade the soul for the Baron, as they are the ones with the push on the map. and really look to kind of pressure towards these tier 2s. As we're going to definitely have a fight around some objectives.
Yeah.
It's just a question of which one.
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm getting hyped up. Alarm in this bot lane, looking to push it up as far as possible. Leave some of that pressure coming through. Want to keep that tier 1 up for as long as possible and secure themselves that part of the map. You can see Winthrop Garnet are positioning themselves. They can go for either objective. They have control of this river at the moment, but they can always pivot at a moment's notice. They look for Trickster. Maybe bit of damage does come through, but ultimately don't quite find anything just yet. Nice two-man stun coming through, though. It's only a matter of time before both of these teams go for the throat. Bit of damage has come out. Couple of low HP bars now. Winthrop Garnet. I'm looking at Frost Forest. I'm looking at Denethor. They're going to have to heal up. Frost Forest especially needs to play this incredibly well. Needs to get on that train headed for Reset City if they want to come out of this thing alive. And Rector, I feel this fight is going to be indicative about who's coming out on top.
And you have Alorum waiting in the wings. Has the Paranoia available. Denethor trying to mark him the whole time. It's going to be a question of which one gets the stronger point.
One-on-one has started, but Avino found Trickster. That's going to be smite down. They're going to find themselves EU red as well. And they've just pushed TFT out of the Dragon Pit. But it's still going to go into the hands of... Okay, no, that was the reset, but I was very confused. It went into the hands of Winthrop Garnet. Toasty Alex needs to be careful. Nice Paranoia comes through, and they find Frost Forest. Toasty Alex is going to stay alive just barely a little bit longer.
Yeah, but they forced them to the bottom side of the map to react. There is still a TP available for Alorum, and Toasty Alex doesn't have one, so they cannot match this play. It's going to be the Soul and the Baron going to the side of Winthrop Garnet. And a lot of that was off the back of Denethor marking Alorum, making sure he could not use the Paranoia offensively, and able to pull out the carries in Trickster and EU Red around the objective.
Winthrop Garnet just saying, who the hell needs smite, bro? That unnecessary, unimportant. You know, I thought for like half a second Trickster managed to steal the drag, like from the grave some way, somehow, but it was Frost Force obviously in the body of Trickster, grabbing himself down. And like you mentioned, right now, that's double objectives. Going over to the side of Winthrop Garnet. They have just been doing an amazing job of playing around neutral objectives. They have been claiming everything on the map that they so desire, and we're seeing them reap the benefits of it.
Yeah. You know, it's like we said off the cast jokingly of just win forehead. Well, Winthrop Garnet came back in and said, fine, we are just going to draft what we know. Yeah, easy enough. Just play the game better. And that's what they're doing thus far. But it's going to be on this Baron. It's going to be on them actually getting pressure around the side lane and actually getting towers down, picking up the standing gold off the map. Because, as we can see, there's going to be a fight.
Indeed, there will be. Pockets gonna go gold, and that might have been the bait they needed. Tidal wave, heartbreak over the wall, but you can't escape death. You can't escape Alorum. A lot of damage coming through, especially on the Denethor. Flash with the hook going in. Will they find the damage? It's the question. So much damage comes through. Mobility. This man cannot be stopped. Looking for Alorum next. Don't quite have the charm, so they're gonna have to let Alorum live. But regardless, Winthrop Garnet is looking to turn this match against TFT into a GF&G.
I was not ready for that. But this is all based off of the mismatch. TFT try to force 5 members strong in the mid lane and force a fight, but they don't get everything they need. They just get Frost Forest, and you can see the single target damage come
Double
through.
knock up though, turret diff, baby. They're gonna find the kill onto Denethor. Alorum, still alive, just barely, runs back, never mind, down he goes. Mobility picks up the kill there, and they walk on out of it like it's nothing. They take lives, they take structures, and now they're taking a base.
And this is success around the Baron buff. They're able to get the tier 1 on the bottom side, plus the inhibitor all the way down from the tier 2 in the mid lane, and really balloon out this gold lead. Now 4K. Only thing left is now in the pocket of mobility is the Infinity Edge. We're seeing how much damage they are doing in these team fights, and the soon to follow should be the death cap on Avino. These two are creating so much space and opportunity for the resets for Frost Force, or just carrying the fights all together, as they have a little bit of a Zillion moment, a little bit of a pause coming in.
Yeah, if it wasn't enough hype already to be built up. Richter, what the hell is going on in this series, man? At the start, it was looking like we were just going to get the salty run back of game number 1, and now, I mean, this game is in Winthrop's pocket right now. I'm not going to lie, man.
Yeah, and a lot of that is on the composition they drafted. They saw the chance to play Viego, and they created so much single target damage and lockdown that they sort of fight this in a bursty front to back. And as soon as they can pick up one reset, it leads to another. It leads to another. Especially if you can get Avano, not Avano, Toasty Alex out first. There's so much set up CC in Syndra's kit to elongate the fight, and then just move one to the next to the next. And so far, it's been the fact that they're playing single target damage and they're playing single target burst that they've been able to find these picks in the mid lane and be able to kind of make use of the over aggression that's coming out from TFT.
Yeah, and I feel also they're reaping the benefits of the fact that they've been just doing such a great job of getting those neutral objectives, right? Especially Big Daddy Denethor, right? We keep talking about him on that Aatrox. He's got that extra percentage armor, right? Magic resist. He's got the extra healing coming through as well from the Ocean Drag, and it's allowing him to just stay forward in these fights. We saw him, even though he gave his life in that last fight, regardless, his team absolutely swept the floor with TFT. We saw him constantly going in, healing so much, getting those knockups as well, allowing the rest of Winthrop Garnet to just put all the pain in the world onto TFT.
And we had a lot of questions around Winthrop's bot lane here coming into match number 2. And like I said, you give them some agency in the game. You give them these champions that can make things happen on the Rift. And that's exactly what's going to go. They have priority to stack those dragons. They have the skirmishing power if they're going to look to siege up on this tier 2 on the top side.
Definitely so here. Not looking like there's too much that Team Fish Taco can do. They're going to have to give it over slowly but surely. It's like sand in your hands. You know, it's just running out from your fingers, and there's not much you can do. They're bleeding out of so many wounds that they don't have enough bandages to cover it up.
Yeah, you are slowly starting to lose out because you're able to force over sides. Right now, there's not a person on the side of Team Fish Taco that can answer the wave in the bottom lane. There's not a person who can go out and really shove out this mid lane, so you have to play the cards close to your chest. You have to try to hope that Winthrop Garnet makes a throw around one of these pushes, that they show up a little bit too far out to where you can react. But as of right now, you know, Winthrop's doing such a great job of playing discipline and taking a tier 2, then walking away and not trying to force fights that they don't need to, because there's only 1:20 until the Elder Drake, and that can flip a game in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely so. And then who knows? There's always that possibility that TFT finds that angle and can close it out, but we'll have to wait another minute to find out that answer. I'm looking especially at EU Red, right, who was just a huge turning point for TFT in game number 1, and I feel like right now we're seeing why Lucian is just such a feast or famine sort of champ, right? You know, he's doing great with farming, keeping up relatively well with items, right? 3 items compared to 4, and obviously they're comparing him to Mobility's 9-0 Kaisa, but this time around in game number 1, I mean, you could not step up to EU Red. You could not talk to him. You were not that guy. You were not his mutual. He would just absolutely annihilate you. This time around, it feels like EU Red has to play so much safer.
No, that's exactly the case, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have the dive. They have the capabilities to just get on EU Red and make him stop doing damage. And as long as it is Winthrop getting the priority around these objectives and being the first to the fight, they get to set the precedent for how it plays out, with things like Denethor marking Alorum over and over and not allowing him to get the flank, and really creating that opportunity for Pockets to hit him with the Evan Shroud, get that damage amp, and just end EU Red's whole career.
Definitely so. They're going to be looking for it. They've been setting up these death brushes, but they find the hook. Will they find the damage lock coming through with the calling as well? Tricks are getting lower and lower. Terranoia does get proc. It's dark on the Rift right now, and when the lights come on, Denethor is nowhere to be found because he is dead. He is in the ground rector. He's been terminated, but the same has happened for Trickster. Avena running. Heartbreaker finds the mark, though. They've gone 1 for 1 for 1. Toasty Alex looking to find something. Heartbreaker forward. Goes gold. Where do you go when it's done? Into the dirt. If Frost Force has anything to say about it. Another reset, another kill, and another domination from Winthrop Garnet. They find a bubble on Alorum, and they find the kill. And with the TP coming in, Winthrop Garnet is looking to close this thing out.
It was on a knife's edge there, but you saw Denethor just cranking out damage and just soaking up almost the entire culling. How can you get through this? EU Red was neutered here in this game, and it was all around Mobility and Pockets having the tools they needed to be successful and create the parity that was lacking in game number 1. And this is going to force a game number 3.
Yes, it will, Regdor, and with Trickster off the map, with the Nexus off as well, Game 2 goes into the hands of Winthrop Garnet. We told them, hey, just play better, Forehead, and they said, watch me. They did exactly that. They straight up realized, dude, you Reds got some hands. They cut off all his fingers. They said, listen, you're not doing anything this game, and they ran TFT into the ground.
Yeah, and they showed that you can win from red side, ladies and gentlemen. It is not blue side, 100% win rate. You got to have the red side believers. I was one of them. I lost a little bit of faith, but now it's back. That's results-based analysis right there. And also, I'm going to get a little bit of a payout, you know. 67K channel points on TFT, only 5.8, or 6.4 on the Winthrop side. So, hey, we're eating good tonight in TFT land.
Yeah, definitely back secured, and game number 2 has been secured as well for Winthrop. That means that not only are we going to a best of 3, Rector, but that means that that best of 3 is the all-deciding match. Both of these teams have shown us absolute master classes of how to play League of Legends, but only one team can come out on top. When we throw it to a quick break, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes and get into draft for the final game of tonight and find out who the hell is moving on to the finals. Don't go anywhere. All right, Rector, it's that time of the night. All the cards are on the table. The pressure is insurmountable. We're at the precipice of what has been an absolutely insane best-of-3 series. And now this final game decides who moves on to the grand finals and who goes home empty-handed.
Oh, when you put it like that, I got a little bit of goosebumps. Maybe it's because I don't have a beard, but like I can feel the air tingling on my face. It's that moment we all dream of underneath the bright lights. And I've got to say, it's anybody's game. I came into a bit of Twitch currency recently, about 60,000 points worth of it. I don't know where to put it, because at this point, it is anybody's game. We saw the adaptation. The critics have been silenced around the bot side of Winthrop Garnet, and they came back with a ferocious victory in game number 2. And now it's really on TFT to say, what can you do now? Because your answer of Lucianami didn't work out. Alorem looked as good as possible on this Nocturne, but it didn't cut the cheddar. And at the end of the day, your playoff dreams, your grand final to go to the final boss that is UST Esports is on the line. So what can you show me, TFT?
Yeah, and I think, you got to remember just how much not only is on the line for both of those teams, but how much they have sacrificed or what events occurred to them to put them in this position, right? We're looking at Winthrop Garnet. They were in the upper bracket finals. The spot in grand finals was just in their grasp. And then UST said, no, that's not happening, right? And then you look on the flip side over at Team Fish Taco, who was sent down into the lower bracket a bit early on, but regardless, just crushed opponent after opponent after opponent to get to this spot because they know in their hearts, and their fans know too, they've got what it takes. Both of the teams have what it takes, but only one can move forward. And with that, Rector, we're in the final draft for tonight. The game plan for Winthrop in game 2 was just play better forehead, and they played incredibly well. Can they replicate that in this final game is the question.
I think it's all going to be around this B1 pick. Team Fish Taco have to find some sort of difference maker, and I think that could be around the bot lane. It could be around this Lucian Nami that didn't get to pop off the same way that it did in game number 2, and I think a lot of that is around just mobility and Pox's way to play the bottom side of the map when they have, that engaged tank, when they have the Kaisa. So look to attack the bottom side and create that mismatch like you had in game 1 that allowed EU Red and Opal to flourish.
Definitely so here. So far, though, looking like the run back once again when we're looking at these bans. Camille just being absolutely denied from Denethor. They do not want to see him on it. And on the flip side, Sejuani being taken off the board over and over and over. Don't want to see that flex in either hands of Alorem or Trickster. So I'm curious to see if maybe, that final ban is where we see a little bit of difference coming out like we saw in game number 2, or if they just run it back, because so far, TFT is looking to do exactly that.
Yeah, and I don't think the run back's the best idea. I don't know that you really need to burn a ban on Kaisa, but I think you need to present something different into it. We look back at DRX versus T1, right? I cried, I laughed, I cheered my face off, and that came down to a lot of the beauty of the Game 5 draft, of leaving the Caitlyn open and saying, do you want to play this, or are you going to continue to pick the Varus? And then this mind game comes in around the B1, the R1, and the R2, and that's the same sort of thing I would look for TFT to try to create on the opposite side, saying, hey, we're just going to leave the Lucian open, we're going to B1 something else, and see, does Winthrop take the bait, and then you can play the counter pick into it, or if they're just going to stick tried and true, because it is the Kaisa that is banned away.
Listen, man, T1 versus DRX was cool and all. I'm here for TFT Winthrop. I'm more invested in this, man. I'm about to start crying depending on who wins, but like I mentioned, right, we were probably going to see in that final sort of final phase of bans, we would see a bit of change, and already TFT have decided to take the Kais off. That was the answer from Winthrop in game number 2 that worked incredibly well against the Lucian Nami, paired up with that Nautilus, and that's being taken off the board. And so Winthrop respectively are going to be like, listen, we don't want to run any risks, so we're going to get rid of the Lucian as well.
Yeah, but now we're going to leave the Kalista open. We're going to leave the Caitlyn open.
True.
There's a lot of different of a look here. And if you choose, say, the Caitlyn on B1, that's beautiful. This is where I need Winthrop to choose a pick away. The Karma, the Lux, two of the things that really make this a pushing lane for Caitlyn. If they can take that away now and use it as that flexible pick between mid and support, that could be the difference maker here for the bottom lane of Winthrop.
Definitely so. Hey, see the bar? That'd be something if we could see the bar coming out. I would love to see something like that. I mean, it's game number 3. Everything is on the line. This is where you have to perform. Shake off game number 1 if you're Winthrop. Shake off game number 2 if you're TFT, because the only game that matters is this game right here, right now, with this Varus being locked in. Something very different that I like to see. I can see you already. You are excited for this one, Regdor.
And you know what pairs alongside great with it is the Karma. I want to see it. I want to see the Karma placed in it, but instead they're going to pick the Darkened Blade again. The main sense of engage and open up so many opportunities was from Denethor on this champion. And there's the Caitlyn Karma. That is the pushing lane. That is the kill pressure. It requires a good jungler that can support them in the early game, that can give them that push and that shadowing. I would love to see, anything like the Viego, the Udyr, even the Hecarim at points would not be bad here, and we've seen Trickster on a lot of them. Shaco's not one of those champions. I just want to say that.
Okay, that was a cute hover, but yeah, it's gonna be the Viego being locked in, gonna steal that one away from Frostforce, saying, "Listen, buddy, let me show you how we play Viego over here in the UPL." And that, of course, leaves the question: how is Frostforce going to answer, right? Is he going to once again go for one of these very skirmish heavy, get your hands dirty picks, or does he default back to something like kind of the Udyr that was a bit more tanky? Personally, I don't want to see it because I love seeing Frostforce on these very aggressive picks.
Yeah, and just like you said, I want to see Frostforce on something that has agency, as we do see the Heimer hover. Made me smile a bit, but it is going to be Pockets on that Nautilus. Like we said, this is his home. This is what he loves. He loves engage. He loves the ability to start a fight, and with the Varus by his side, this is a lot of early game aggression that's going to have to look for these heavy trades and try to all in early on to prevent the Caitlyn Karma from getting any control and priority over the wave.
Yeah, and I think that's super important because I feel like when you see Caitlyn and Karma, how did I forget Karma for a second there? Instantly, I start thinking of Giga Push, right? It's like you need to shut that down super quick, otherwise you are not leaving your turret for the next like 10 minutes straight up. And so that's always so nice. You've got that pressure from the dredge line. It's just the amount of damage that can come out from those blight procs, from the piercing arrow as well. And if anyone can do it, it's mobility. As we move in to these last couple of bans, very different in comparison to game 1 and 2, though we do see the Silas being taken off the board once again. And Winthrop gonna put a little bit of respect on Alorum's offer.
Absolutely. Alorm is a legend player here in the amateur and academy scene. He's been around the block, and even though you ban out the Nocturne, he's still got plenty of gas left in the tank. It's going to be a question of whether or not we're going to get another Ivano counter pick, or if we're going to leave something in the mist for Frostforce. So it is going to be counter pick for Alorm. His Urgot is open. That is an interesting way to look at it, but it could just be both solo lanes being locked in here, of course.
Yeah, indeed. The J4 did get locked in, something that we saw being banned out in game number 2, actually. So this time around, we get to see exactly why that is most likely going into the hands of Frostforce. And honestly, I like that too. Not maybe as kind of skirmish crazy as the Viego, but you just have so much setup potential with that Flagged Dragon. You look at the bot lane as well. You've got the dredge lane. You look at the top lane. You've got all the cute knockups. There's so many options for Frostforce to get things done. And we saw in game number 2, right? He's everywhere all the time, right? He's in every single lane, looking to get those ganks off, looking to get some pressure.
Yeah, and now with TFT's draft being finished here, just waiting on this counter pick for the mid lane, this is a good bit of a different look now with the Swain in the mid lane and the Ornn up on the top side. I always say it, Ornn doesn't need anything. Ornn just needs time. He just wants that solo XP. An excellent answer into the Aatrox. It's going to slow him down and create a lot of room up there on the top side, allow Trickster to be proactive on the map, to look for ganks through mid. Because if I'm Frostforce, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting level 2, and I'm going to go try to hit this Swain in the face and blow his splash early to give Ivano, to give this Azir time and room to work with here. And Trickster probably wants to do the same to try to set the scaling pick behind.
And the thing I love about the comp coming out from Winthrop, right, is that there's such a good balance, I feel, of, you need to go in, obviously, with the J4, with Pockets on the Nautilus, right, with the Aatrox, but at the same time, Ivano can be like, listen, you don't have to go into them. If I can just bring them to us, right? Hit them with the Shurima Shuffle, get 2 to 3 members close to you, and just absolutely put them into the dirt. And we've seen what happens when Winthrop can get on top of the members of Team Fish Taco. And you look on the other side of it, right? Team Fish Taco, I feel like, kind of want to bring them a bit closer to them almost. You've got the grab coming through from Toasty Alex. You've got Opal who can get the stun going. You can get the knockup as well from the Oran Horn. So overall, a really nice sort of dance, I feel, is going to be coming out on the Rift for game number 3.
And a lot of this is going to be around Toasty Alex. It's going to be around the Demonic Ascension. It's so incredibly hard to burst this champion down while he is draining your very life away from you. Add into that the karma that can continue to create that shielding and healing that's going to keep him in the fight longer. And then you have a real big problem of how do I get rid of Toasty Alex? How do I get him out of the fight?
Yeah. So
it's going to be a lot on Winthrop to play around these timers. Know when Toasty doesn't have the ability to get in, and doesn't have the ability to cast that ultimate, and really creates a good place for Winthrop and Frost Force to look for that Cataclysm, to look for the Flag and Drag in, and say, okay, now's our time, start to burst out these carries, or force them to use these key abilities to get out of their effective range.
Yeah, I feel also just reacting to when these key abilities are being utilized, right? Because once Toasty Alex, pops that ultimate, right, it's gonna be that, can you get away from him, right? Don't let that timer continue to refresh itself. Make sure you can back off and basically make it just that, Toasty Alex, you just wasted your ult, bro. Good job. You know, you didn't get anything from it. Now we're gonna collapse on top of you. Now we're gonna take you out. And you know damn well that both of these teams want to do exactly that, because, Rektor, we are on the Rift, game number 3, the all-deciding match. And I gotta ask you, man, real quick, the prediction's about to run out. Who do they put their money on? Quick, Rektor.
You know what? My heart says one, my mind says the other, and I'm not gonna let you know which one is which, because this game is on a knife's edge. Both of these compositions have pretty well-defined ways that they want to play. Again, there is a lot of agency in the bottom side of the map. Which one is going to be able to get the upper hand? Is it going to be the pushing lane of Team Fish Taco, or is it going to be the all-in capabilities of Mobility and Pockets? And that's really what we got to find out. If you're a Team Fish Taco fan, you're hoping that Trickster can create a split map, that he can cut off Frost Force from the bottom side and really look to play around this pushing lane. As you can already see, there's a ward coming out. They're going to catch this invade, hopefully try to deter it, but they don't really have the tools to. So this is exactly what we were talking about. Cross map is set up.
Indeed. They've ordered the tools on Amazon, though, and they're on the way already. Flash coming out from Trickster for the re-engage, but Frost Force is here. Is obviously still on that level 1. Drop the flag down. Double smite comes through, and it's secured by Trickster. Gives them the level 2, and gives them the first blood. Frost Force not able to get over the wall with the flash, and already Team Fish Taco looking to start things off with a bang.
I said they set up the cross map. They set it up in the split clear format, and even if though Frost Force gave all he could, it still equals out in that way. Now just with an extra 400 gold in the pocket of EU Red, and we've seen what the man can do with a lead.
Indeed, we have, and it's not pretty. If there's any way to start off the game, that's certainly one way to do it. Love to see it. Is in this top lane. A lot of trading coming through. Denethor now hitting that level 2. Has to be careful, right? Going up against the assassin tank, mage, drain tank that is Orn. You
forgot, like, druid, assassin, warrior, cleric. He's got it all. And especially here, as he's got this early push, Jarvan's going to try to walk back down to the bottom side here. Frost Force not going to be happy with what he sees, because there's just nothing there. It is a barren land.
Indeed, it is. And speaking of barren land, Denethor is looking to get top lane Baron. Doesn't quite want to follow up on Alarm, though a lot of damage coming through. And just looking at that bot lane, I mean, we talked about how this lane is just giga push, and it's exactly that. However, though, Frost Force obviously has no camps to clear, so he wants some XP from kills. Instead, they find the dredge line. The ignite is out on EU Red. He's looking to at least go 1 for 1, but you're going 0 for 1 instead, because that kill goes to the hands of Frost Force.
And that's what you call a psycho play. He forgoes farming. He has 6 farm right now. He forgoes it. He goes back down to that bottom side just to, put them on the back foot and say, you don't get to push anymore. The heal was used. EU Red still has his flash. That's nice, but now the counter gank's coming through.
The Trickster's a little mad here. Let's see if he can make something happen. Nice hook coming through. Maybe they look to turn it around, though. A lot of damage on top of Trickster here. Gets the shield. Mobility stacking up that lethal tempo. Flash comes through from Old Pal, and that's going to make sure that he gets out of that one. But ultimately, that's such a beautiful turnaround. Things were looking bad for Mobility and Pockets, and they say, listen, you have fallen for our trap.
Yeah, that was indeed, as you said, a wonderful turnaround. It was one blighted ignition away, just one skill shot away from Trickster handing over another kill to the side of Winthrop Garnett. As the map's starting to try to find some sense of a normalcy here, you can see down 14 CS for Frost Force. He gave up farm, he gave up time on the map to try to curb the aggression of Team Fish Taco, but they're now once again in the same spot, and the question becomes, how long can Frost Force spend down here before it comes a detriment to the rest of the team?
Definitely so. And also, can we just talk about the footwork coming out from Alorem here? That was so nice to see. Perfectly running around all of the darkened blades there, making sure doesn't get hit by it. Been doing a great job of just chilling, because honestly, you know, as the Orin, you're going up against this bruiser carry that is the Aatrox. Objective is really just survive and make sure that you just go even with Denethor, right? As long as you go even with him, life is good, really.
Yeah, and even better than that, you don't even need to CS. As long as you're catching the XP, as long as you get to those ornaments, the passive on the Ornn, so incredibly broken in its ability, just giving him base stats, giving him more and more tankiness, that people just tend to forget about. It's like, well, you know, he's down 30 CS, but in this case, actually up in CS in the matchup, able to pick up that early tier, and now is just happy, go lucky here in lane.
So here, Denethor, he is not happy about it. He's been looking for some kind of a kill onto Alorem for the past 5 minutes, but just never quite find it. So his Pockets now. Bush looking for something, waiting. Next flash, not quite gonna find the hook though, so Trickster gonna stay alive for now. Frost Force stepping up, maybe looking for something. We're just gonna drop the flag, get some vision, but ultimately nothing quite coming out of it.
And you can see the build-up, the learning that's been occurring here is now it's a 3-man down
forward,
bot side.
nice Spectral Maw though, a lot of damage coming through, so much from the Empowered Q, and that's enough to strike the thing. Trickster doesn't quite take the body though. Mobility had that lethal temple stacked up, flag and drag coming through, but Trickster just beautifully utilizing the shield that he can get from the Nautilus to stay alive, and that's gonna be 2 kills on over to Team Fish Taco.
God, that is beautiful. And as I was saying, the adaptation in game 1, it was all Team Fish Taco around these objectives. Game 2, all Winthrop. And now in game 3, we see these contests. We can see it's all in on the bottom side of the map. The chips are down, and they're saying EU Red or Mobility are going to be the ones that are going to carry us to the promised land of the grand finals.
Indeed, they are. Trickster in this drag here. Okay, smites it, secures it. Level 6 Pockets is here though. He's trying to buy some time for Frost Force to get there. Heartbreaker's available, finds the damage. One more auto tag will seal the deal, and Huge picks up the body to make sure he doesn't get hit by the Shurima Shuffle. Heartbreaker once again. It's Reset City, and it is a dangerous place to be if you're on the side of Winthrop Garnett.
And TFT are trying to just...
Indeed, try they will, and now Alorem might try to find something. Flag forward, so much damage, but Denethor just barely stays alive, but the Bellows Breath takes him out, cooks him like a chicken nugget.
They are not messing around. They've got their game faces on. They said, we dropped 1 game in the lower bracket. That is it, and this is all it's going to be. 2 games total. They're going to make their way to the grand final if they keep this up, because this is a 4K gold differential. Last game, what I said was they have to continue to press the pace. They have to continue to step on the gas, and that's still here. 4-1 on EU Red, nearly on the Gale Force, and hopefully rotating out of the bottom lane soon, continue to press that advantage.
Yeah, 4-1 in that bot, and 1-0 as well in this top lane. 10 CS up, we talked about, right? Alorem really just needs to survive, just needs to soak up the XP. Alorem says, screw that, dude. I'm taking everything on this damn top lane, and then some. He's got extra farm, he's got the extra gold with the kill as well, and he's looking to just take absolute control of that top lane.
Yeah, absolute control indeed. And when he has this advantage, he can continue to just scale into this game. That just opens up more and more options, because now it's no longer just a a nice Ornn hanging out and tanking up some CS. Instead, it's him pushing towers and creating even more pressure points on the map for the side of TFT.
It will. Denethor once again needs to give her those brittle procs. They hurt. EU Red. I'll go ahead and use Ace in that hole, get some damage out. They are just absolutely farming plates right now in this bot lane. 9 minutes in, they've got at least 3 plates to their name. The hook does come through, but not quite under the turret's range. Your old pal looking for some more, a lot of damage coming through with the headshot. Frost Forest is on the way though. Question is, can they get out alive? Double flash still available, but no heal. If Frost Forest can get on top of old pal, he might be able to find something. Flash forward, Root comes through. EU Red switches on over to Pockets though, looking for the kill. He'll find one, but that might be all he finds. It will indeed. Down goes EU Red, and Frost Forest will be picking up the shutdown.
And that is not exactly where you want the gold to go to, right? You need something on mobility, has to make its way forward, but it's a 2-for-1 nonetheless, and that is signs of life here from Winthrop.
Signs of life, and there's going to be a lack of it in this bot lane because Trickster picks up mobility like it's nothing. Frost Force can do nothing but watch as his teammate goes down. The demonic ascension, huge dash though, Avenal, that should not be legal.
That was disgusting display, utilizing that spacing that we talked so much about, and they're just going to be fighting more and more.
I love it. This is what I want. More blood for the blood gods, more death, more destruction, and Avenal is going to find that death indeed. Down he goes into the hands of old pal. Can we start giving some more gold to these ADCs and to the mid laners, please? It feels like all the supports and junglers are picking these up.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, EU Red probably has a nice amount of gold here as they are sitting on the first mythic of the game, has the Gale Force unlocked at 10 minutes in. They farmed up 4 tower plates so far, but their greed might get the best of them here.
Indeed, indeed, one of the 7 deadly sins, and EU Red has been judged unworthy. Down he goes into the hands of mobility. Finally, we're getting some more gold into his hands. And meanwhile, top lane, just, handshaking, doing their thing.
Yeah, meanwhile, the bottom side of the map is the dog sitting in the fiery room, like this is fine meme. According to the top side, they have no recollection of this, but Trickster might be bringing some chaos with them as he's trying to set up for this dive.
Indeed he is. He's calling upon the Rift Herald as well to help him out. Nice knock-up with the Spectral Maw. World Ender gets dropped, and that's going to keep Denethor alive a little longer. Rift Herald crashes in. Beautiful positioning to make sure that he doesn't get damaged by it. Will it be enough, though? The answer is no. Trickster picking up yet another kill. 3-0. Frost Force with the Cataclysm, but Trickster was able to dash out just barely. Alorum goes back in to try and protect his boy, and he will pay for Trickster's sins.
Frame perfect movement there to get out of the Cataclysm and tower range, and instead using the majority of the kit of the Aatrox to be able to pick up that kill. This is Winthrop Garnett in shambles at the moment.
Didn't find the hook to get to the wall, and he's gonna go down. The CC chain comes through, and so does the damage as Pockets eats the dirt. Another kill going into the hands of EU Red. Regdor, this is so reminiscent of game number 1, and that's not spelling anything good for Winthrop Garnett.
No, this is the ballooning gold lead. That's 5 plates taken down on up on the top side, and another 4 in the bot lane. This is generally where you want to rotate this bot lane around. They're going to play for this dragon that's coming up right now in the mid lane, though.
Indeed, indeed. Toasty Alex in a tricky spot trying to heal, but that's about all he'll get done. Down he goes. Avenal with a nice little dodge there is not going to get knocked up. And overall, Winthrop Garnett going to find a little bit of something. We talked about how Team Fish Taco is looking to write their autobiography, but if Winthrop Garnett has anything to say about it, Chapter 3 is going to be about them.
This is what it comes down to, is this movement around objectives. No tier 1 to their name. They're not allowed to walk into this river, and that is the second Drake. This is an Ocean Soul. This is an Ocean Soul with the Viego, with the Swain, and the Ornn, just giving you even more and more tankiness over what is a pretty great siege composition. That makes it endless. The night begins and never ends when it comes to the side of Team Fish Taco if they're able to pick up the next 2 Drakes.
Truly does here, and we saw just how crucial the objective control is for Winthrop Garnet. Game number 2, they did an amazing job of being there at all times. They reaped the benefits accordingly, had that soul. I don't believe they gave over a single dragon, got that second Rift Herald as well, utilized it to perfection. Team Fish Taco have realized it and said, no, 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 this time around, we're choking you out when it comes to these objectives.
And these objectives have been the name of the game, and the victor of all of them, oddly enough, has a lot of them. You know, taking the Soul, taking the Baron, which seems like rudimentary League of Legends, but it's been their control over the priority and their ability to play in each other's jungles, to find these picks and say, this is where the buck stops. This is where we take ground and do not give it back in this crazy warfare that has been this best of 3 tonight.
Already we're 14 minutes in and we're seeing death brushes being set up, and speaking of death, Frost Forest is gonna find out exactly what that feels like. Down he goes into the hands of Toasty Alex, and so they are just gonna take that. They have put their foot down in the jungle of Winthrop Garnet Regdor, and like you said, they're not leaving anytime soon.
No, and you can see a bit of the experience coming through as Mobility is going to get bursted down there.
Indeed. Shield Bow going to keep him alive just barely, but the Ignite tick, 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 not going to boom, though. He's going to stay alive, had the heal, and now Pockus needs to run for his life. The Assassin Mage, Druid, everything else under the Sun Alarm is chasing him down. Will Pockus escape? Find out next episode. Never mind, find out now. The answer's looking to be yes, because they're saying, listen, we got bigger fish to fry. Go back home. Tell them what you saw here.
Yeah, you let him know what happened when TFT allowed you to live this day. It's just EU Red and pushing lanes and continuing to play for these tier 1s. Going to be able to get the mid one down because of that exchange with Pockets on the bottom side. And the biggest thing for TFT is that they do not need to worry. They have an 8k gold lead. I can do math live on air, and they are continuing to stack up the objectives. Now the Rift Herald in the pocket of Trickster, looking for just tier 2s at this point and striking some really lethal blows in this final game.
It is. I'm looking, listen, I'm looking at Mobility, man. Mobility, free my boy. You know, we talked about how it feels like Winthrop Garnet is going to be looking at him to carry them to the promised land, but so far, promise is feeling like a bit of a lie. Regdor still needs some time, needs to get online. They're looking for Alarm. It's going to go unstoppable. Does find the knockup, though. Finds the damage. Alarm is tanky. Will he be tanky enough? The answer is yes and no. Mobility. I said free my boy. Don't kill him. They put him back into the jail. That is the gray screen. Down he goes. Pockets should be next on the list, and so will be Denethor. Pockets eats the dirt. Denethor eats the dirt. He's going to try and take one with him, but he won't. Double flash comes through, and Alarm says, you cannot kill me.
And you're starting to watch the experience of Team Fish Taco come through. Incredibly important when you look at Winthrop Garnet, the majority of their players are only in their second year of competitive play. Mobility was a high elo challenger ADC prior to joining Hippus Gaming. Same thing for Denethor, now in their first year of collegiate. And they're amazing players, but when you look at the history behind Alarm and how well he's been able to lead teams in the past, and once again being the rock, the stability in the top side, meanwhile the devastation that they've created in the bottom side, look at the gold advantage. 3k difference going to the side of EU Red. You can be the best player on the Rift, but if you don't have the income, it's hard to shine.
It's the young bucks going up against the old heads, man. And it's like Captain Rex says, bro, experience outranks everything. And so far, that experience has been allowing Team Fish Taco to just take absolute control of this game. I will say, regardless, you know what they're known for, that mid-game fumble, the mid-game slip-up. So Winthrop Garnet can find some kind of an opportunity, find some picks like we've seen them done before. They can certainly get back into this thing. It's not over yet, Regdor, not by a long shot.
No, there's a lot of League of Legends left to be played. It's only 18 minutes in, and once again, we're looking at another objective. This time, though, it is Winthrop with the first move. TP going to be coming in here from Toasty Alex. We'll see how they try to approach Frost Force in the wings.
He does get spotted up by the ward. It's going to have to dash on over. Was looking for some kind of a flank, but Team Fish Taco, not that dull, and they know that something like that is coming. Already, EU Red setting up some traps here in these choke points, looking to make it hard for Winthrop Garnet to make anything happen, but they just say, screw it. We'll start up this dragon, and let's see what happens. Already, Ace in the hole got dropped. Ornhorn getting called in as well, gonna find a double knockup, and that's all they need. Chains of corruption, more like chains of nothing, because the first member, Denethor, is down. Pockets is gonna do his damnedest to buy as much time as he can, but he's gonna get ran down. EU Red picking up that kill. It's Reset City. And it's a bad place to be when you're Winthrop Garnet. Root comes through, but a nice Cataclysm not gonna allow him to get there. Flash over the wall though, Toasty Alex, and they're gonna find Avano, and they are just taking everything on the map.
Yeah, and they don't even go back for the Drake. They're gonna push the tier 2, 4 members down, or 3 members down for the side of Winthrop. They do not have the ability to stand up to the siege. Sundisk dropped there in the Trickster body of the Azir there to create more pressure on the bottom side of the map as well, which just allows for the solo take of the dragon and the entirety of the resources being pulled away from Winthrop here, choking them out slowly in this all-important game 3.
Definitely. So much on the line for both of these teams. Both want this win so badly. Team Fish Taco has fought tooth and nail to get to this point. Winthrop Garnet want their shot at redemption against the shellackening that happened against UST, and so both of these teams have what it takes, but only one's making it, and so far Team Fish Taco is looking like they're that guy.
They are indeed that guy for now, and you can see the vision line just scattered across the map. They know where they are. They've been tracking very well. These side laners have been tracking where, but there's a one blind spot, seemingly, there on the top side. They're trying to make something happen. They do have objective bounties up. This is a little bit of the comeback mechanic. You got to know, this is a high mountain that you are trying to climb, and at the summit is Team Fish Taco.
Definitely. High risk, high reward, and that's exactly what Winthrop Garnet need right now. It is their darkest hour. Everything is on the line in this final game, and they need to find the strength, the perseverance to push through, to get the W and move on to the grand finals. It's not going to be easy, but nothing good ever was.
The greatest things come with some of the highest costs, as the sundial is used to create some space, have the makeshift tier 2. But one of the things is that Denethor, sadly, is 0-4 right now, only sitting on an item and some components. Meanwhile, you have the Thimblewhammer, you have the upgraded Frostfire Gauntlet here, and Lorm's just able to control the side lane so well, pushed up so far because of the pressure created elsewhere on the map. He does not have to worry about the collapse here.
Honestly, he didn't have to worry about it. He probably wants it to happen. He welcomes it because he knows he's got the mobility, man. He can get out of there at a moment's notice. He can 1v1 Denethor with ease. He's like, listen, I am the master. You are the student. Know your place.
And there is the other beauty, is that if they go to answer Alorum on the bottom side of the map, it is the Baron. You can see question mark pings coming down from TFT at that point. They want to maintain the vision control up there and say, if you match Ornn, we're going to take the Baron. No questions asked. TP all you like. We already know we can win the fight 4v4. So it is a bit of a standoff here as we're just clearing vision around these objectives.
Indeed, we are. More than a 10k gold lead here for Team Fish Taco. And the question really is, Regdor, what's the move? Is there a move? This certainly isn't it. Toasty Alex found 2 members in isolation. Flash over the wall from Trickster. Ace in the hole. Get down, Mr. President. He didn't get down fast enough, though, because his braids just got splattered across the jungle. Avano is going to eat the dirt, and now the question is that an instant Baron take? It's looking like the answer might just be yes. They started up. Pockets knows what's going on. He's saying to the rest of the team, boys, we got to make something happen right here, right now. We cannot let them have it. But old pal and Toasty Alex says, what you gonna do about it? Step up to the plate if you think you got what it takes. Baron's down to 4k HP. Denethor and Frost Force are there. Denethor pops the World Ender. Down to 3k HP. Will they find it is the question. Frost Force, Cataclysm goes over the wall. Won't find the Baron though, and will pay the ultimate price of not getting the steal. His life and his team is to follow suit. Down goes Pockets, and next up is Denethor. That's gonna be a 3-man for Team Fish Taco.
They try to go all in on the steal, and since they don't get it, they trade their lives. Now just the 2 soul carries left for the side of Winthrop as they begin this siege.
Flash
And this is
forward,
going to be
huge!
another.
Oh my god, mobility with the heal. Can he escape? Yes, he will, but Trickster, he's saying, listen, buddy, run on back to Fountain where the rest of the little kids play, because this is a real man's job. Taking out the base, that is. They find themselves the first tier 3. They find themselves the inhibitor. They're going for the next tier 3, and Frost Force and Pockets can only watch as it goes down. Mobility is back, but he's got to be incredibly careful. There's just nothing that Winthrop Garnet can do as Team Fish Taco walk out victorious. Frost Forest, a lot of damage coming through. Avano as well, a lot of damage on top of him, trying to find some damage. Ace in the hole, someone's got a block. They don't, but just barely stays alive. He's bleeding out, but he'll live to fight another day. No, he stepped back into the eye. He goes down, and if that was an omen of what's to come, I know exactly what's about to happen. Regdor, Frost Forest, tank it as much as he can. They'll find Toasty Alex. Is this the angle? Can we get the Denethor diff is the question. Ornhorn gets popped, looking for Pockets, but the shutdown is gonna come through. Old pal running for his life, and he'll live to tell the tale.
And now this dragon becomes a lot scarier here. This is a 3v3. The question is if they're just going to be able to burn it because the 2 inhibitors are down. They can't go and contest. This is the soul. This is exactly the finishing touch, the piece de la resistance here for the side of Team Fish Taco to be able to finish this out. A little bit time left here on the Baron buff. Try to get a push down here in the bottom lane, but it's about time for them to reset and spend what gold they have, the bountiful harvest of these earlier skirmishes.
Speaking of time, Rector, that means that we've got exactly 5 minutes and 35 seconds until that Elder is up. And that could be game deciding if Team Fish Taco doesn't already decide to close things out here and now. They're in the base. They've got all 3 inhibitors down now as well. And the lights are getting dimmer and dimmer for Winthrop Garnet. They're doing their damnedest to hold on, but is the question, is this a wound that they cannot patch up? Are they going to bleed out here tonight?
Guys, this is looking like the end is coming near. There's only 2 turrets left to defend the base of Winthrop Garnet. They're going to have to make a snap decision here soon.
Indeed they will. The end is nigh, and the perpetrator is Alorum. He's found Frost Forest. Ornhorn gets called in. Find a double knockup. The fight is being sectioned off 3 ways. They find Denethor, and it's looking like Team Fish Taco are gonna find the rest of the base. EU Red will not fall, and the rest of Team Fish Taco are gonna run down Pockets before taking out the Nexus. They leave Alorum to finish the job, and it's looking to me, Regdor, that Team Fish Taco are moving on to the grand finals. November 18th, they fought tooth and nail to stay alive in the lower bracket, and they're moving on.
And that is exactly the gameplay that we wanted to see. TFT in game number 1, dominant in the bot lane, forcing rotations around the map, and then just controlling vision and controlling the pace of the game at a breakneck speed. They're able to do it again in game number 3. Something I love, the experience coming out, Alorum showing off on the Ornn in the top side with EU Red and Old Pal just putting on a clinic in how to create pressure in these pushing lanes.
Yeah, I mean, it was a sight to behold. That's one way to put it, and I feel that doesn't even do it justice. Overall, every member on the team understood the assignment so well. We talked about how it felt like this bot lane would be the ones to lead them to the promised land. Alorum said, I don't know about that one. Look top lane a little bit. Let's see what we got there. He had an amazing performance going up against Denethor, Big Daddy Denethor on the Aatrox. And Alorum said, screw that, dude. I'm going to pick the Ornn, and I'm going to run a master class in this top lane. He does exactly that. Trickster on the Viego. I mean, we said that they want a jungle that can make things happen. Trickster says, hold my beer, hold my Red Bull. He does exactly that. Bot lane, it's just TFT bot lane, man. They do their thing, and they do it so damn cleanly.
Yeah, but something that has to be said, and kind of framing this of what comes next. It was TFT dropped down by UST Esports. This is why they ended up in the lower bracket. They gave them one of the only losses out of all of the games, out of every best of 3 played by UST Esports so far. 14 wins, 4 losses. That's it. they have not dropped a single best of 3. They've only dropped 4 individual games as a total. This is a very strong team with a bot lane to match. Shogo and Rovex are one of the scariest 2v2s that you can find in UPL, and that doesn't even talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the highlight machine, Robbie Bob in the mid lane. You have so many pressure points out of UST Esports, and I think that's really going to put Team Vishaka to the test of what do they do, like we saw in game number 2, when EU Red is stunted, when he isn't the one stunting on the enemy team. Where do you go now?
That is going to be the question. It is going to be a matchup for the ages, and I even totally forgot that it's actually a lot sooner than we thought, right? It's on Tuesday the 15th. It got rescheduled, so that means it's gonna be here faster than you think, ladies and gentlemen. But the night isn't over just yet. We're gonna throw it to a quick break, but when we're back, get into the players' heads a little bit, get some interviews going, and find out what the hell just happened. Actually, we've got, out of all the people, EU Red is going to be joining us. So, I mean, now you definitely cannot go anywhere. You're going to want to hear what he has to say. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got someone special with us here tonight. We've got the bot lane beast, the side lane stunter, dare I say, maybe the savior of NA's bot lane. Who knows? Maybe it's too soon to call it, but I'm just going to say it. We're joined by TFT's ADC, EU Red. How are you feeling today, brother, after what was one hell of a series?
Yeah, I think the main sentiment is that it was a little bit harder than it should have been. I think this is a recurring pattern where I think these are series that we could close out 2-0 and are struggling sometimes, and this all started with the SLU, I think, the first time, when we had a 10k gold lead and kind of through. So I think gameplay-wise, we have the capabilities of closing a lot easier. We're just handicapping ourselves. But we made it work, so that's that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it either looks like your bot lane performance is dominant or just kind of in the middle ground, and seemingly in this series, a lot of aggressive picks and proactive bot lanes. Is that kind of your play style? Do you like to try to win lane hard, or is scaling options something that you feel like you're comfortable on as well?
I think with how the meta is right now, a big part of it is just to get the push and get the prio in bot lane. And in game 2, it would have been a more fighting bot lane, but level 1 kind of messed it all up because the Nami was down like at least a level for the rest of the game, so you can't really contest the lane in that way. But I think in general bot lane meta, I mean even at Worlds, it was just get that push and get the control, and that can just snowball into the rest of the game.
Definitely. And I mean, speaking of the Nami, right? I'm curious what the comms were like in game number 1 when you locked the Lucian and the Nami's just kind of given over. Were you guys surprised by that at all?
Well, one consideration there is why I guess Nami first pick would be better is they could answer with Draven Nami, and then what do you pair the Lucian with? But I feel like most people aren't that confident on the Draven, especially in like a niche combo with the Nami. So I can say we weren't expecting a Sivir Yumi. I don't think that worked out well for them, but yeah, I mean, in principle, most of the time you expect the Nami to be given over.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys played really well around kind of putting them in that paradox of do we try to steal away the Nami or do we keep it? And I guess kind of the question, kind of moving forward, it was UST Esports that sent you guys down to the lower bracket, and we were talking earlier about just how dominant of a force they are, especially playing around that 3v3 with the jungle in the bot lane and having that early priority around these pushing lanes. And do you feel like you've learned anything through what has been the just slaughtering of these teams you guys have gone up against in the lower bracket? Do you feel better prepared for this final against UST Esports?
I'd say we just have a little bit more experience in closing out games, I guess. That was the biggest issue in the previous series. I mean, I think we could have had a 2-0 with 20-minute games back-to-back had we just been a little bit more patient. So I think that's going to be the key factor to look at.
Okay, and I mean, so the thing is, normally when we have a team that's coming back up from the lower bracket, you know, we kind of get the question like, who in your team is the one that keeps everyone kind of gives them a level head, makes sure that, you know, no one tilts and everyone's like, we got this. I feel like this time around, you guys kind of crushed the lower bracket moving up. So is there anyone in your team that, you know, keeps everyone from getting a bit too cocky, maybe trying to get a little bit too flashy? Because I'm remembering some plays from Mr. You Ready himself going for some platings here that it was a little cocky every now and then. I'm not gonna lie.
I guess in a lower bracket, I mean, we are aware that we can win any game pretty easily. So I guess it's kind of over pushing the advantage a little bit. So you might have to tone down on that. But that's also how you win games. So obviously it's measured aggression, but in the end it is still aggression, right? So I don't think there's a one anchor holding everyone back. It's pretty much give and take all around. So
yeah, I think the only question I kind of have left out there is I guess being your first year with TFT, how has it been kind of developing with them and the camaraderie as the team? Because it definitely shows resilience, like you said. Hey, we can win 2-0 series back-to-back in 20-minute games. That's a pretty great thing to say for what is considered kind of a younger roster and coming together. But what's the experience like being with TFT?
yeah, well, this roster was put together like literally last second with getting Trevor in and everything. And I mean, this is pretty much an off-season, right? So there isn't too much things going on. So it's kind of quite fortunate that everyone's gelling well, I'd say. So it's not like you have hours of team building every week. It's more of a, you know, let's get together, let's do this. And I'm positively surprised at how it's working out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have too much more to say about that. It is an off-season tournament with different expectations and commitments, so
well, I feel one of my final questions really is going to be obviously UST being the ones that sent you down into the lower bracket in the first place. I know you guys are definitely holding a bit of a grudge against them, looking to come out swinging. You guys looked incredibly strong this time around. I got to ask you, man, obviously on the 15th, are we expecting like a full just 5-game series, or are y'all looking to just close this out real quick?
I'm expecting a 3-1. I don't think it'll go
Okay.
to 3-0, but
I like
I mean, we have to. Yeah, I think there will be hiccups, but you know, you gotta come out with confidence. You gotta come out with punching. So, especially being a 5-game series, you know, first game is less relevant, I guess. It's always good to have, but you just gotta settle into the groove, and then once you're there, you just cruise through.
Okay, all right. Well, you heard it here first, Reddit. He just said it. They're gonna give him game 1 as a consolation prize and then run him in the dirt. It's gonna be a quick series. Don't even bother tuning in. It's gonna be super easy. TFT's looking to crush him. Thank you so much, E-River, joining us here tonight, and thank all of you for watching this absolutely insane best of 3 series. Be sure to join us on the 15th for the grand finals of UPL Rector. Thank you so much for being here with me once again, looking handsome as ever, and just the Giga Brain was there once again, Reg Dominus, and once again, thank you all for watching. Have a great night, guys.